To the AM news, to our first story now. The majority in Parliament has shut down calls by the minority for the removal of Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa and Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Smith, dismissing the demands as baseless and politically motivated. The majority insists the minister and the ambassador remain fit for office despite concerns raised over recent U.S. visa restrictions affecting the country. There's more in the following report.
Minority in Parliament on Tuesday called for the dismissal of Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, blaming him for the latest U.S. visa restrictions, which now include Ghana. According to the minority, the development stems from what they describe as the minister's utterances, actions and inaction, arguing that he has failed to live up to expectations. Deputy Ranking Member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Nana Asafo-Adjei insists the minister is unfit to remain in office.
So, firing the minister while it's necessary is insufficient move by President Mahama. Must act decisively on multiple fronts. First, he must deploy a presidential special envoy to Washington immediately. This cannot wait for normal channels. The president must send a respected, trusted senior figure with direct authority to negotiate Ghana's removal from this list in a way that is mutually beneficial.
The minority also demanded for the removal of Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Victor Smith.
Ambassador Smith has apparently forgotten that his job is not to be the government propaganda chief in America. His job is to protect Ghana's interest in Washington, to engage, to negotiate, to prevent disasters like this visa freeze. He has failed catastrophically. President Mahama must recall him immediately.
However, the majority on the Foreign Affairs Committee has rejected the calls. Chairman of the committee, Alfred Oko-Vanderpoy, says the majority will not support any move to sack either the minister or the ambassador.
He's worked on reducing passport charges. Ghanaians are happy about it. Passport processing. Today is the fastest. It's ongoing. And Ghanaians are benefiting out of it. Ghanaians are happy. So please, I don't think this is the time to call for the removal of the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Every Ghanaian I know have realized and have seen his hard work every day in this country.
Vice Chairman of the committee, Cletus Seydou Dapila, also took issue with the minority's position, describing the demands as unfounded and unjustified.
Within the 1 year that he served in that ministry, he's done so well. He fared well. He's done so marvelously well and deserves accolades, not to be reprimanded. Particularly, Honorable Asafo, the words you used were very unprintable. That is not diplomacy. It's unfortunate. Next time, if you want to do a press conference, don't use such words on a colleague, particularly your senior and all of that. So you can't describe such a man that everybody in Ghana knows to be somebody who is worthy of a man or a politician. You cannot come and describe him that he's untrusted or he's somebody that is disrespectful. That I wouldn't agree with Asafo-Adjei.
The majority insists the minister has conducted himself with distinction and should rather be commended. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
Well, as the New Patriotic Party gears up for its presidential primaries, voices from the Central Region suggest former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will win the contest. Though a section of residents believe Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong has what it takes, many others are convinced that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will emerge victorious.
January 31, 2026 will see delegates from the New Patriotic Party NPP heading to the polls to elect a flag bearer in what is shaping up to be a keenly contested presidential primaries. Across the country, the candidates, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong, Dr. Yawoseye Duchum, Dr. Brian Echampon and Kwabena Agyapong have intensified their campaigns, engaging delegates to position themselves as the most suitable candidates for the job. in the central region.
Alert.
Street interactions revealed mixed sentiments, while some residents backed the region's homeboy, Kennedy Ohini Japan. Others insisted that former Vice President and flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Baumia remains the right choice to lead the MPP forward.
Kennedy no go win your son. Kennedy I met the man for Bonizim, Panapa so I principle or car no qual. Na ba when ya de sanu do yeku fado no yin atina do. Nta memo yeku fado o yin bui no na no bolo baba betina do. By Ken dey wunda master no justice. Nti Ken de me sure do yin ba woni agina Ken do no bonwi.
Ba omia obotuma afa. Since you know what ton, I do so what ton on market. No to a sample. As I say, hey, nti ba omia ono or advantage. Do botum aye because as you walk on first now one car a man for the turn one two but we tell one salmon no what you will be until what you will be no one with one salmon oh yeah that no what out to until second time now but how to do now wafa because you be an author some preoccupation na odi but about you will be
what do we mean na onye akufado esenensi ala obi ambio kufado nasa same nti oduwa kakra na obacha ko echi kakra
se ba nenu kwa no wadne ba emfa obowi na internal of elections but oba na ya general elections na anye the ba nenu aka se na oye team of ekufado and at the same time onye ekufado ni you man na yama ko yi nti no we can still give him the opportunity. In a Canadian, so the probability of being under a low because on another case, I'll be connected to me catch and be president we go talk. Since I've been there, I'll be a president. No be president we go talk. Why say the one can talk?
With the primaries a week away, anticipation continues to build over who will emerge as the MPP's flag bearer. Ultimately, the decision rests in the thumbs of the delegates. From the central region, Abigail Lesel in COMAC reports. For Joy News.
In a vibrant push to hatch a new era of food self-sufficiency, over 100 farmers in Offensive North District have become the latest beneficiaries of Ghana's ambitious Nkoko Nkete poultry program. The initiative, a cornerstone of the National Feed Ghana agenda, is now pecking its way from blueprint to reality, aiming to sow the seeds of better nutrition, increased incomes, and a reduced reliance on imported poultry. And Asabet has more.
In a country striving for self-sufficiency, a new dawn is breaking for Ghana's poultry sector. A national program with a very local name, Nkoko Nkete, is taking flight, aiming to transform livelihoods and claw back a market long dominated by imports. Officially launched last October, the program moved from policy to practice this January. At its heart, a direct intervention providing chicks, feed, and critical support to thousands of households and commercial farmers across regions like Ashanti. Here in Offensive North, that promise arrived in the form of over 5,000 vital beds. District Chief Executive Caesar Ofosu-Achampon says this isn't just a handout, it is a partnership.
We want to assure His Excellency President that we will take good care of them so that we will be able to achieve the main aim of which this all-important program was brought. Today we are distributing 5,000 of 6 weeks checks to 100 farmers today.
The district chief executive emphasized proper care, a sentiment echoed by the agricultural experts on the ground who will be the backbone of the program's support system. Prosper Adewini is the district director of agriculture.
And today marks the first day that we are distributing the beds to the beneficiaries under the Nkoko Nkete program. So today we've distributed close to 4,800
the birds, and these are going to help improve the nutrition of households and also the incomes of these small household farmers. We are hoping that going forward we'll give them the necessary monitoring, the necessary guidance so that we can keep these birds very well, and we record a very good program at the end of the pilot, so we can reach so many farmers. Like the president said, to reduce our imports.
And for the beneficiaries, this is a tangible step towards resilience.
I heard of this in Kuponkitinkiti that the president initiated. So I registered, and today, God willing, our DCE called us and has delivered Kuponkitinkiti to me. I'm very grateful to the DCE for making them available for us, and I'm also very grateful to the president for this initiative.
Official North, yes, yesterday, yeah, and Coconk, Yache, Ama is our committee. You Mamma say, at the honorable Caesar, I say, when and yes, so the following year,
this distribution is just one chapter. The Nkokon Kitten program, part of a broader Feed Ghana agenda, plans to roll out across constituencies nationwide. The aim is to build a network of thriving small-scale producers, slowly weaving a new fabric of domestic poultry production. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Akumadai.
Well, the senior technical officer at Zambia's National Science Center, Darius Katuka, has urged government to prioritize adequate teaching and learning resources to strengthen practical STEM education, especially in rural schools. He made the call during a monitoring event by the Knowledge Co-Creation Program's Zambian delegation in the KEA municipality of the Central Region, stressing that targeted interventions are needed to bridge resource gaps and improve hands-on STEM learning.
During the Knowledge Co-Creation Program KCCP monitoring event at the Abrim Isiam AME Zion Basic School in the commended Dinegwa for Abrim Municipality, the Municipal Education Director, Mercy Kualisa, described the program as one that reflects the Ghana Education Services vision of delivering holistic and innovative STEM education.
This is a clear indication that when learning is made relevant, practical, and engaging, children respond positively. As a directorate, we commend the initiative taken within the Agona circuit and especially at Abrim, Isiam, AME Zion Basic School. This program aligns strongly with the Ghana Education Services vision of delivering quality, inclusive, and holistic education. We look forward to exploring opportunities to scale such innovative practices across other schools within the municipality. I wish to place on record the director's sincere appreciation to Ms. Mariam Stella Ama, whose selection for the Knowledge Co-Creation Program and commitment to translating the knowledge acquired into practical outcomes have yielded commendable results.
Speaking at the event, Senior Technical Officer at Zambia's National Science Center, Darius Katuka, appealed to governments to provide additional resources, particularly for rural schools, to enhance practical STEM education.
More like even in the case of Zambia, you'll find that more resources are in the urban setups. Much as the efforts that KCCP are being made to ensure that we use the natural resources that are within our environment, we appeal, of course, to our hardworking governments. The governments really, they want to see what efforts are we putting in, first of all, as an initiative as teachers. Now that we're able to see, government now can come in. So our appeal to our government, our senior officials who are present here, is that kindly look at these schools in the rural setups. Give them more resources. Then we are going to see such kind of environments being created and the children learning at a very high speed. And we shall begin to see our nations growing at a faster rate.
Meanwhile, the director of the Science Education Unit at the Ghana Education Service, Olivia Sewal-Pare, underscored the importance of international collaboration in strengthening STEM education delivery.
It is therefore with great pleasure that we received the KCCP monitoring and evaluation team from Zambia, who are in Ghana to assess the impact of the knowledge and competences gained through the program. This visit is critical as it provides an opportunity for reflection, learning, and evidence-based assessment of outcomes, while also strengthening accountability and continuous improvement within the partnership.
From Ebremesiam, Abigail Lisol Nkoma reports for Joy News.
From the Central Region, let's take you to the Western Region, where the District Chief Executive for where the DC for Wa East, Adamu Shaibu, says the NDC government is committed to bringing healthcare closer to the people. He made this known at the commissioning of a CHIPS compound at Yaru in the Wa East district, noting that the facility will reduce long travel distances for residents seeking quality healthcare. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Yaru.
Prostitution is gaining popularity in the area, attracting both Ghanaian
The challenges facing Wa East District are multifaceted and intertwined. Challenges relating to roads has a huge impact on the delivery of quality healthcare in the district. The vast nature of the rural predominant farming district, coupled with its deplorable roads, impact negatively on the health of the people. With few health facilities taking care of the sweep of residents, majority of the people often travel several kilometers in order to have access to quality health care. One of the communities is Yaro, located about 86 kilometers from Fancy, the Wa East district capital, which itself currently is without a district hospital. So, residents who need quality medical care have to either travel to neighboring communities, which are several kilometers away, or to the Wa and the Upper West Regional Hospital. With the commissioning of the new community-based health planning and services CHIPS compound at Yaro by Dodo Enterprise and funded by the Wa East District Assembly, it will not only take care of the medical needs of the people and beyond, but cost as well. Adamu Saibu is the Wa East District Chief Executive.
So we saw the need, looking at the population of Yaro and the communities that are surrounding Yaro. There are so many communities that are here that don't have health facilities. Yaro being the center, we saw the need to put up a health facility here so that it can serve the community and the nearby communities as well. This facility is a critical one to us because the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama wants to extend healthcare to every community. Every Ghanaian should have access to quality healthcare. So that is why we brought this facility here. And if you look at it, you have the health and the clinic aspect of it. They have accommodation for nurses.
Whilst admonishing the people to take care of the facility, he assured them of the commitment of the Assembly and the Wa East Member of Parliament, Dr. Gorpe Seri Jasau, to add more equipment to ensure that it takes care of the holistic medical needs of the people.
So we are going to make sure this facility functions very well. We have handed it over to the chief. I have cautioned them to be interested in the facility, make sure this facility is sustained for a longer time to come. The health director is also willing and ready to staff the facility for it to operate. And when it operates, we are sure that the mortality rate within this area will reduce drastically. We don't want people to be traveling from one community to the other with minor cases that they can treat. Everything should be done here. In fact, looking at the nature of the facility, that I have hinted that this facility can even serve as a health center instead of a CHIPS compound, because we have every basic facility within the building.
Excited about the commissioning of the Yaro CHIPS compound, which is the third in 2 months, is the Wa East District Director of Health Services, Dr. Benjamin Amiyori. He posited that the new CHIPS compound will improve the quality of health of the people.
We had the Chagopani CHIPS compound renovated by the Honorable Godfred Sedu Jasau, and the Tuasa
clinic that was also built from scratch, just like the Yaro clinic as well that is built from scratch. So I'm very excited because access to healthcare is one of our biggest priorities. So to have this completed, and not only completed, but with the attendant medical equipment. We've seen medical patient beds, we've seen a delivery bed, we've seen a patient bedside locker, BP apparatus, examination couch. Almost every medical equipment that you need has been provided.
Equally excited was the chief of Yaro, Na Asan Sakara II. In the past, when any of the residents had stomach ache, I had to hire a vehicle to transport him to Wa for medical care. We thank God now that we have this facility. If you have similar problem, the person will be treated here. Meanwhile, the Wa East District Assembly, through its common fund, is constructing a 2-unit block and ancillary facilities for the Yoro kindergarten. It is a 6-month project that began in 2025 and is valued at a little over 600,000 Ghana cedis.
This is a community that has a primary school. They also have a JSS, but they don't have a KG block for the kids. And we're also aware that these kids form the foundation of everything. So we have allocated some resources to construct this KG block. In fact, if you look at the designs, we will have 2 classrooms. We'll have office space for the headmistress or headmaster. They also have urinals and toilet facilities for the kids as well. So we are expecting the contractor to finish within 6 months. But what we are looking at or what we are seeing, the speed he's moving with, I'm sure within 3 months he can finish this project for us.
Well, economist Dr. Edu Owusu-Sarkodie is urging the government to enhance its livelihood empowerment against poverty LEAP program to further reduce poverty in Ghana. This call comes after the country's multidimensional poverty rate dropped marginally to 21.9% for the 3rd quarter of last year. Speaking to Joy Business, Dr. Sarkodie recommended decentralizing LEAP activities, enhancing community involvement, and increasing funding to expand coverage.
Programs like Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP and also School Feeding Program, and today we have FSHS that feeds our borders. Because the underlying objective of all the three that I've mentioned is to improve nutrition, and nutrition is one of the indicators. In fact, the statistician mentioned that health, nutrition contributes about how much? 41% of the poverty. So, but it has helped. The LEAP school feeding program, free SHS are helping. I'm sure without these programs, the incidence would have been higher than we see now. But there's more room for improvement, as someone would say. So there's the need to make the LEAP get to the people who need it, right? And don't play politics with it. Also, the free SHS, I think many students and their parents have complained about the nutritional quality of the food. I think we have to improve on that. The school feeding program too, we have to improve on the quality of the food we give them. And generally speaking, nutritional status and also health insurance, because like I said, health insurance it stands out as the most single deprivation of many Ghanaians. So I think it's working all right. Today, about close to 60% of Ghanaians are registered, but still, 40% still are behind, and we have to get them registered.
All right, let's wrap up the business update with what's happening on the commodities market. But that will also be it for the AM news. After the commodities market, we'll bring you the AM Sports. Good morning.
well-being. Anyway.
But it speaks about, how marriage itself should be looked at, right? Because people have started bringing back their pictures on social media.
Oh, dear.
That sort of portrayed the happiness in the marriage. How did things change? So we need to pay particular attention to marriages. Of a U.S. case, judge demands extradition papers, and yesterday we spoke to Frank Davis, who said the judge adjourned the bail hearing because he gave authorities the advantage 30 days to present to him the document on the extradition request for him to take a decision on that. The details are on page 3 of the paper. And court denies Abutrika bail. You remember that Abutrika is standing trial for some $8 million romance scam in the U.S., but he's been tried here whether or not to extradite him to the U.S. or not. His lawyers applied for him to be given bail, but the court has denied a particular bail because Attorney General's representative were against the bail application, and upon argument, the court decided that, well, he would deny the guy bail. His lawyers said that his his health was deteriorating, and therefore he needed better care. But the Attorney General's argument was that he's being taken care of health-wise in detention, and so the court decided that they would keep him in jail still. This story is a sad one.
Yeah.
JHS student kills colleague over boyfriend. This is a JHS 2 student who has stabbed a JHS 3 student. Over the two of them were fighting over a boyfriend. The JHS 2 student is 15 years old. The JHS 3 student is 16 years old. And because they were fighting over a boy, allegedly, according to the story, the JHS 2 student pulled a knife and stabbed the JHS 3.
Take a story from top. So he or she went to school with a knife.
I think they fought back home, not in school.
Okay.
And she stabbed her on the breast. When she was rushed to the hospital, she was pronounced dead. And the body is being kept in the morgue. And the issue. So the story, the details are on page 6. I mean, that's basically what I've told you.
Listen, I don't know how we got here because Kojo Inje says you just tease each other. Your boyfriend, you're wearing anko, laugh about it, you go home. And you go. If you have a father like mine, you won't cross this gate. How did we get here?
They were fighting over a boyfriend. JHS students. JHS 2 and JHS 3. That's the story.
It's how they grow to become the story on page 3.
It's a very sad one. I mean, when I read it, I just couldn't believe it. But that's the story there. Chronicle GPRTU throws a fit, arrests 15 drivers for charging multiple fares. The story came yesterday because they said they were not charging fairly. They had to go out there and arrest some people. They arrested 15. And they are still going about implementing that particular decision of theirs that they will arrest drivers for charging unfair prices.
It's not on our table to discuss, but when we have time, I'll ask the lawyer on the desk how this can amount to they charging them of a crime, you know. Because to be charged, the crime must be written and we must see it. So we'll look into that.
Martin Pebu explains that this would lead to agitations, which will lead to the break in public peace. And therefore, there's a provision in the criminal law that prohibits, that allows that you arrest someone who is challenging the public peace of the country. So that could be, but we have a lawyer on the table, so he could also help us. But the minority is also saying that the minister will be brought to Parliament to probably explain the shortage in buses and also to talk about these people who have been arrested. So let's look forward to that. Baumia leads St. Paul's opinion poll. So ahead of the primaries on 31st January, a lot of polls are coming out. This poll puts Baumia ahead of Kenny Japan. It says delegates have indicated that they would want Baumia to lead the MPP, but there are a lot of polls coming up. So this one indicates that the former vice president is leading in the MPP's presidential primaries there. And Boso Mankrado has not been disturbed. This is a long, I think it's a release that they have there. You can go in there and look at it. Voter student Anes Oponfosu for exemplary leadership. Oponfosu is the board chairman of GIPC. If you get into that, you get the details. Let's do others. Okay, let's do majoronline.com. And we have managed to build sufficient confidence among MPP members, Osei Owusu says. Osei Owusu is the chairman of the presidential primaries committee of the MPP. And he says that they've built enough confidence. Some people are petitioning them to investigate the allegations that some people are plotting to cause mayhem in the primaries. But this is the chairman speaking. They get details of that. He again says we laid out the rules for all candidates or say we should defend NPP's internal election process. And today is Thursday. This is the day they said the 5 candidates will commit to unity, right?
Okay.
So let's see how that also goes. Mahama champions Accra Research at World Economic Forum meeting today in Davos. I get details on there as well. So I'll end here and give you back to your first day panel. Today I guess there won't be troublesome because they all look calm.
They always do until... Kojo, thank you so much. I think I enjoyed the headlines very much. Right, so let's get into it. This morning, we're joined by Solomon Owusu. He is the Communications Director for the United Party. We also have been joined by Hamza Suheni. He is lawyer and member of the NDC Communications team. And Dr. Joshua Zato is political scientist and policy analyst. Kamaldeen Abdullahi is Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Gentlemen, it's good to see you again another Thursday. I hope you're well. Solomon, I hope you're well. Yesterday you were there, Rise Ghana protest.
Yes, I was there, but this morning I'm not well because of the documentary that I just saw a while ago on your station.
But the midwife?
Very terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. It tells a deeper...
Authorities must immediately move in. That's why they don't need the mobile money that you have put there is even a disgrace. A nurse, a midwife going to deliver, falls into a situation you expect her to be mobilizing from the public to save her soul. That is disgraceful. The Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana Registered Nurses, they must immediately, this morning, it must not cross after 9 o'clock. This village life attitude must stop in this country.
I don't know what it is.
So I am not happy with it. I mean, how can we live in a country? I mean, what moral temperature would I sit here and discuss anything about this country again? When a nurse, one of the interviews, in a certain aspect of the interview, she said she went to work fit.
Yeah.
She was not sick. Going to help others to deliver. Then she falls into this situation, and you have the Ghana Registered Nurses, you have the Ghana Health Service, you have the Minister of Health sitting now, expecting them to be mobilizing Momo, one city, to save their soul. What sort of impression are you creating to those who do in this profession? Immediately, they must immediately go to aid and solve the matter before we even proceed with other matters. It's not good for us.
It's not. She's hoping to raise 210,000 Ghana cedis.
And we are, as a country,
brain aneurysm.
No. It's too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I'm so sad this morning. When I saw it, I said, but what's the point in coming here to discuss anything?
I understand.
These matters that could be handled with ease. And I would be very surprised if the body, the motherboard, as the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, are not aware of this situation. And if they are aware, what have they done? Because before this woman will go public, or this lady will go public with this matter, I'm sure she might have discussed with the body, with even the hospital, which hospital is, I understand she works with the Adan government hospital. What has that hospital itself done for her?
It becomes even a bigger challenge if the facility in which she works do not have the required means to even solve her problem.
That is a point.
It's an advanced service that she would require, brain aneurysm, and I'm not too sure. It's the woman who's on her journey to becoming a professor, actually. She's attained most of the highest...
No, it will come. It will happen. This one, for me, I'm going to the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Ghana Health Service and Ministry of Health. No, this matter must not be... You must not reduce it to mobile money. What are we talking about? Momo to save the situation. And I heard the reporter say that time is running out for her.
Yes.
And we want to sit down for us to lose her as a country before we set up a committee. Oh, what? No. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. But let me thank your station for this wonderful job. I mean, these are the issues, matters that brings out the best in terms of policy. But this is not about her alone. It is about the number of professionals in various bodies who may be going through such similar situations, who may never have this opportunity to even air it out for a conclusive resolution to the matter. So I'm very happy you have done that. This is what we call corporate social responsibility. you have done a yeoman job.
Thank you so much, Solomon. You see that I'm kind to you with the time already. In fact, I'll even start with you today.
The rest of the, if I don't even speak today, I'm okay.
Oh, Mr. Usu, thank you very much. Well, Dr. Joshua Zato.
Yeah.
So a lot has been happening in the news. Of course, by extension, Ken Oforiatta is still in the news. But today, one that probably would have a lot of people's attention will be the multidimensional poverty in Ghana that's falling. The Ghana Statistical Service says that it's falling to a little over 21% in Ghana. There is still a bigger challenge where it looks as though it is not unevenly distributed, which means that there are still some parts of the country that are still not receiving the variables or the factors in which the Ghana Statistical Service would consider would mean that a person has a good standard of living. I'll start with you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners and my colleague panels. I think it's very good news. For me, any statistic or any research findings that indicate that as a country we are doing something relatively good or something better is nice, because if poverty rates are declining, that means it's good for all of us. If poverty rates are declining, that means it's good for our neighbors, it's good for our people, and as a country we need to be. Our biggest challenge, our biggest worry as a nation should be things like that. If you tie into what Solomon just said, if we are able to fight poverty, if we are able to make sure that the development of our people is at hand, if we are able to make sure that whatever national, regional, or local policy that we are implementing is aimed at one thing and one thing alone, lifting Ghanaians from poverty levels and this and then, it's a good thing. So I'm happy with that. In fact, this comes on the back of a survey by IEA, Institute of Economic Affairs, that actually shows that about 58% or so of Ghanaians approve of what is happening and think that things have gotten relatively better. So that shows a trajectory. And I'm happy with all of that, because then it means that as a country, something positive is happening, something good is happening. We can and we should celebrate that. But the report also mentions potential potholes, potential things that we ought not to gloss over. It still talks about the regional disparities. Certain regions are doing far better than other regions. Now, I'm not surprised. Two of the regions that are doing far worse are newly created regions. It talks about the Savannah and Otter region or so. So the question then for policymakers must confront is, what are the driving factors and how do we begin to address these particular issues in these particular regions?
Interesting. It highlights health. If you look at the percentage, health seems to take the larger chunk of what contributes to a person's good standard of living.
It does, because the thing about health is, you can be okay. If it's regular health, it can be okay until something like this happens, like something like what this nurse is going through. And then all your savings, every property you have, is immediately sold to save their life. You understand? Then coming back is almost not easy. It goes to the statement that Akufo-Addo made during the COVID crisis. We know how to bring an economy back. We don't know how to bring back life. What happens is that whenever there's a health crisis, you go out everything, literally sell or dispossess everything you have to get it. Coming back is almost always a problem. So I'm not surprised that it is the main issue that we're talking about. And also, we can look at the regional disparities and begin to ask ourselves, what purposive policies can we put in place to address regional disparities? It has to be purposive. We need to, because it cannot be generic. It cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach if the disparities are there. It sort of talks about how specific regions, populous regions like Ashanti, Eastern, also have a disproportionate amount. And you can understand that. Some of it is related to the urban-rural rift. Some of them is related to the fact that there are people in these communities that are being crowded out or crowded in the sense that most rich people are moving up to the suburbs. In Accra, most people are moving out to better neighborhoods, leaving the center of the city choked with little or no services. You know, you are living in somewhere very far away from the center, so you have better facilities and better everything where you are living. I don't know where I won't ask this guy will know, but that's the point. So when you do that too, social services within the center then begins to be what? Deteriorate, becomes poor, and then it contributes to the poverty rate. So the question we have to ask is, how do we make sure that in the peripheries, because sometimes you're even driving in Accra, then you get to a place like, you just see, nobody needs to tell you.
Yeah.
Better roads, better everything. You come. So we need to also begin what? To address those kind of issues. Then there are some other issues that have to deal with industry specific. Last year, Joy FM had to organize an egg market here for people to sell eggs, where there was an egg glut. I've talked about this, and I always talk about this. people, a friend told me how if you go to Otter region plus and some places in Northeast or so, there's a yam glut. So many yams there, and they cannot sell. The prices are falling low. And again, I've said this again, if you go to Tumu, if you go to Sala East, there's maize glut. Part of it is we need to find a way to add value to these things. It shouldn't be the burden of the farmers. The farmers have done their part by producing. We should find purposive policies of telling them. Next week I'll be in Tumu. There's a factory there that is doing something amazing. They are trying to take the bead gloss and turn it into, what's the name? They want to turn it into a chicken feed.
Okay.
They want to turn it into these things for porridge and other things. Kedan, yes, Kedan is a factory in Tumu. They are trying to launch it. They've added a new line to add quality.
Okay.
And these are some of the things that I hope the Ministry of Trade will look out to reach out to Kedan. I heard the regional ministers coming to commission it. So I hope the president hears about Kedan. I hope the Minister of Trade hears about Kedan. And you are here. Well, you are an in-law of Sisales. I hope you also hear about Kedan. And then you talk about it. They are doing amazing things there. Because unless and until we begin to add value to some of these products, some of these issues will be perennial. Remember, rural-urban drift is every year.
We'll get to the rural-urban drift.
So finally, let's come out with an all-of-the-above approach. And sometimes when you use an all-of-the-above approach, we shouldn't also use a one-size approach that just try to prescribe this thing. Some of the regions have specific developmental challenges. Let's address those things, and then at least I hope that this number gets far better than it is now.
So, Hamza, Dr. Zato says that if you look at some of the regions that were mentioned in this report, it's the newly created regions. My question will be, if we didn't create these regions, would it have been better anyway? And also a feasibility check in countries that we say are developed or are developing. Is it really feasible that if there are regions or sectors, will we get equal accessibility to good health, to good standard of living? Is it a facade or is it a reality? Can we get that done, really?
It is. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleagues in the studio, and of course to our cherished viewers out there, as well as your production team. I think that MFR, it is possible to get your developmental projects across the length and breadth of your country, if the country indeed is committed to that particular objective. It is doable. We see it elsewhere, not just in the Western world. There are many exemplary countries in Africa that references can be made, especially when it comes to health infrastructure and how they have been able to succeed in dotting it around critical areas of their country. So it is something that this country is also working on. Time is still not lost, but I think that with more commitment, especially if we're able to continue from the kind of interest President Mahamadou during his first time invested in the health sector, I'm pretty much sure that if he's able to continue in that way, we'd be able to cover many of the critical sectors of our country, especially when it comes to healthcare delivery. But you see, MFR, the issue has to do with the two poorest regions in the northern regions. I do not think that the creation of these regions resulted in the TAC as being one of the most poorest in the country now. Maybe we need to understand that even prior to the creation of these particular regions, the three northern regions were branded as the poorest. I think only comparable to Central region or so. But what that tells you that even prior to the creation of these regions, many of these new regions were more or less hinterlands of the existing region. And so if you take northern region, for example, it was difficult to travel all the way from northern region to north to certain districts within even the new northeast now. They were completely cut off from the, what's the name? Yeah. Town centers and urban areas. And their lives, in fact, they lived under terrible circumstances. There are even communities you will find in the current northern region that are also detached from the urban center of northern region as it is today.
I don't think you will mind if I interrupt. We have similar communities in Upper West. If you go to the Sisala area, towards northern region, even cut off by rivers, actually called overseas.
Yes.
So,
I see.
They're cut off. So,
and as I speak with you, there are such communities even in the current northeast region.
You
know, so the poverty situation in the northern regions, I think it must continue to be on the front burner of every administration. But you see, this multidimensional poverty also exposes one interesting perspective, and that has to do with the rural-urban migration. Interestingly, Ashanti region and Eastern region is also fast becoming a concern zone. Because per the report, it appears that they also recorded one of the highest multidimensional poverty lines. And that is worrying.
So what, people moved from these areas?
It could be, yes.
And then it makes the accessibility to these things what?
Absolutely,
higher.
it could be.
They overstretch.
They overstretch it, and it is coming to it. I'm sure that the situation in Accra is no different.
No.
But these are the issues. But look, MFA, we can't also downplay the significant inroads that we have made as far as multidimensional poverty is concerned. Because if you look at the figures, last year, we have improved compared to 2024 figures. And so whatever we did in 2025, we must consider the possibility of doing more this year. And government must have a deliberate strategy. And I am convinced that this government has one. That is the reason why, if you look at the 2026 budget, we are concentrating on critical sectors that we believe can help take the people out of poverty. And one such sector has to do with the oil palm sector, where the government has indicated its commitment to coming out with a factory intended to take advantage of that industry. And by doing so, you would uplift many of our people outside the poverty bracket. Again, if you look at the agro-processing factories, about 7, that the Minister of Finance has indicated that they are willing to establish this year. If that also is done, we would be taking advantage of the agricultural sector and bringing on stream or into the mainstream many of these people who are found in the rural communities with their livelihoods hinging on agriculture specifically. And so a government deliberate strategy is critical. My only hope and prayer is that we do not allow these factories, if they evolve, to be used as the normal political football that we engage in as political actors in this country. Because you see, agriculture will be an important vehicle in taking many of our competitors out of poverty. And all of us must be committed to that drive, especially those of us who are coming from the north. Indeed, we grew up seeing our parents going to the farm almost every day. And as you continue to get exposed to urban life, you begin to ask yourself the kind of benefits they were getting from that particular initiative. Because in terms of changes, you really didn't see much changes growing up. But every year they were on the farms. And so there's the need for government to actually take these interventions seriously. And I have made a personal commitment to ensuring that I will police these promises that we made to the good people of this country, especially the 2026 budget, where we indicated that we would create more factories to at least support the agricultural sector and produce coming from that sector. And rest assured, MFA, if we are unable to live up to that expectation, many of us would have cause to break ranks with this government and demand that these investments are actually taken through.
As you police the government, I shall police you too.
You would like that?
Yeah?
I would love that. I would love that. I would love to be policed.
Come on.
I would love to.
I'm now seeing you for the first two.
Sure.
Okay, Happy New Year. So what I'm struggling to reconcile is that the number of people that the data says that quarterly they exited from a poverty level. They said 360,000 quarterly. That's a huge number. But still the same Ghana Statistical Survey just some months ago tells me that about 1.3 million young people do not have jobs. I want to reconcile it. That is it that the people who are moving now already had the means, but the health and other factors were not accessible, or what? Well, I haven't been able to reconcile the data.
Well, thank you very much. And once again, good morning to you. Good morning to my co-panelists and your viewers as well. And Happy New Year once again. MFA, we will continue reading figures on papers and tickling ourselves and laughing that we are improving when we don't put pragmatic measures in place to ensure that we fight poverty to the core. Just like Hamza said, last year we had these figures. Have we improved? The answer is in the affirmative, yes, we have improved. But in reality, what is on the ground, like you alluded to 1.something million people complain of jobs. What is on the ground? Like the report alluded to the fact that when you go to the bigger regions, poverty is becoming endemic, okay, and that we should do something. That is what is the reality. And I think that, look, we have not been deliberate about it since independence. First of all, when we attained independence, ask ourselves what population was this country. Now, fast forward to where we are today. How has our population grown? And what have we done to ensure that the growth of the population matches with what we are providing in terms of development? Okay? That is why earlier speakers made mention of creation of regions. Their whole idea is to ensure that, look, we deal with population growth and equitable distribution of our resources. And equitable distribution of our resources means that we should try as much as possible to make available amenities that will ameliorate the living standard of the people in the regions that we have created. But like I tell you, like I said, look, this pragmatically we have done nothing. Why haven't we succeeded? We have decided, and I will agree with Hamza, to play political football with essential matters that affects our development and the development of the human self. For example, the issue about factories that he spoke about. Industrialization, that's what it boils down to. Now, if we are almost 70 years as a country, and we have not been able to industrialize, and we have all the raw materials, we are endowed with resources, but yet we sit here and do what we call the MPP NDC and say we are enjoying ourselves. And we sit here and go to our constitution and say we have what we call National Development Planning Commission. Are we serious people? To be very honest, we are not serious people. If we have a National Development Planning Commission in place, I would have thought that industrialization should not be something for politics. The regions we are creating, each region should have had one factory operational. At least. Dr. Zato spoke about yam glut in Uti region. What stops us from having a factory that yam?
And maize glut in Tumu and Walingjang and Gulu.
Okay, what stops us from having such? Go to the enclave around Bunu region, Bunu East, and look at the mangoes, the fruits that go bad. What stops us from thinking out of the box? Yet we go and import from China and other countries mango juice on our shelves in the supermarkets. Are we serious people? So you see, these are self-inflicted norms. For me, IMF will always come up with some of this report. And like I said, if we do not have pragmatic measures put in place to curb them, then I think we will always continue.
Which other measures can we have practically?
The measures is that, first of all, if MPP says we have brought 1D, 1F, championed by Alan Kojo Chiramanteng, and then by the time he exits, he says, look, we have over 100 and something factories in place under our government, which he said so. The NDC should not come and say we have scrapped 1D, 1F, because it boils down to industrialization. Then they say, oh, we have scrapped it, but yet we are also going to establish some 3 or 4 factories in our budget. What nonsense are we doing to ourselves? Please, this morning, I think I am getting angry on this. We are inflicting ourselves with politics. So if, for example, we had these factories put in place, and then the continuation of it comes, and then we say, okay, if there was 120 factories, how pragmatic it is, how real it is, then we go and do all the evaluation. This is not working well, that is working well, that is working well. What can we do to improve upon it? The jobs that you are talking about, if these factories are working, obviously, there will be demanding factory hands. And demanding factory hands means employment will be created. We haven't done this. And then we come and sit here, and then we come and talk plenty English and go home and then go and do NDC.
I like to think that's not what
That's exactly what we are doing. We come and talk plenty English and go home and then the country is still where it is. So for me, if we really want to improve, first of all, in the educational sector, we should make sure that the STEM that the Akufo-Addo thought of and put in place
Speak Dagbani. You're on Dagbani.
Okay?
Oh, you don't want to speak English.
I'm saying the stem that Akufo-Addo taught much and brought it in place. We should try as much as possible to continue with it.
Okay.
Again, the industrialization drive that the former governments have had, we have papers in place. We have
since Kwame Nkrumah's era.
Let's develop them.
Okay.
But sadly, since Kwame Nkrumah era, when the NDC came with the Diversity Implementation Committee, they sold over 300 factories. My brother is here. This is right. We sold them to people, and yet today, where are they? Where are those factories?
Question now, as Hamza once.
I mean,
but let me
so for me, this multidimensional report is there.
Okay.
However, we should be deliberate about it.
There shouldn't just be numbers.
It shouldn't just be numbers.
Okay.
And then actually practicalize what we are doing as a people.
Solomon, you have opportunity to respond to a lot
Solomon
of
is very happy with what...
lots of the things that your co-panelists said.
The truth of the matter is that my brother Anthony Abeyefa Kabo will not be happy with Kamaldeen and Zato on their views about factories, because just...
Hey, I don't express any view. I just mentioned one factory.
A couple of days ago...
Which is doing an amazing thing.
A couple of days ago, I heard my brother Kabo loud that factories were not the issues. If factories were anything to go by, they could put about 100 or so in the northern regions.
Abeyefa Kabo is on the policy of Ghana.
Oh, my brother.
You lost me on that. What did you say?
Trivialize it. I said,
you last Saturday we had a program at Joy Prime. I left the place and you, because of my absence, you decided to do a lot of.
So what?
Today I will pay back. No. I'm doing today. I will cover all the available spaces I lost last Saturday. But the truth of the matter is that factories are very important. I agree with them, and I agree with anybody that questions the policy credibility or whoever gave the advice that this current administration must discontinue the 1D1F. I have had the occasion of questioning the trade minister that cannot be. That cannot be. Because if you look at our employment indices, majority of Ghanaians are employed in the private sector. Government's ability is able to only employ about 700,000 people. Ghana is a country of about 34 million people. If you take half of it as being the population that within the labor market, it means we have about 17 million Ghanaians who are due for employment.
Yeah.
As of now, we are doing about 10 million. And if government is only employing 700,000 out of it, it means a chunk of the people are employed within the private sector. It is the reason why the idea of the 1D1F, which was not a novelty anyway, because Mr. Lanchamante also looked at the 7-year development plan of Kwame Nkrumah, and then tweaked it to suit our current situation. Whereas Kwame Nkrumah wanted the public sector to lead in the industrialization drive, because of the UP stock and the mentality, ideology, we believe that the private sector must lead. But you see, here again, my brother Kamal cannot be happy with...
That's the MPP ideology, philosophy, center right.
So now you are in the
No, I'm just saying it's philosophy and ideology.
If you are here as a policy analyst,
yes,
what is
ideology and philosophy shape policy?
Center right, center what?
Yes.
It's not.
But is he agreeing that it's here represented?
No, I'm just telling. Oh, I'm helping you make your point. Alan did a good job.
Dr. Zatokra, why don't you just clear this once and
He's a friend. I'm just saying that.
Are you NDC?
I'm saying that here.
No, a simple question.
I'm just helping you.
She's asking you a simple
question. I'm just helping you. What you are saying is a good thing.
Dr. Zato, do you know why?
Alan did a very good job with the 1D1F. And that was a very
Dr.
good
Zato, I'm here. I'm here.
So that's it. No, I was
but far from that. I get this all the time. Like I get viewers who constantly say that.
It's a simple question.
Dr. Zato is that. Why don't you just clear the air?
I'm a policy analyst.
Okay. So please.
Go ahead.
Please, Solomon, stick to
all right. Policy analyst. We are here.
Stick to that. I don't want to hear that NPP.
But he contested the primaries of the NPP. We cannot be allowing him to be deceiving the public.
Member too.
I'm a United Party member. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't take my time. Let me proceed. The one district, one factory. Here again, they too cannot take themselves out of the blame. Because whereas they were investing more than 2 billion in NAPCO, Nation Builders Co., which was a fantasy. I mean, I can't still wrap my hands around it that a government will come and say that we are only setting aside money to be paying graduates 700 cedis every month. Whereas you have a beautiful policy in the form of the 1D, 1F, that you could have pushed all these resources there for them to extend to private sector to set up factories or expand existing factories.
But we agree that setting up factories and its operation is a bit, it would take a bit of time.
No, but
NAPCO wasn't a bad idea.
It was a bad idea in every respect.
No, but to cushion young people and
somebody goes to university to go and pay a hefty hostel fee like 5,000 a semester.
But the other side of it is that they'll be home.
The other side is that governments, look, let's go to Article 36. What does it say? The work of every government is to make the Ghanaian happy.
Absolutely.
To provide employment. So that is not an excuse. That your excuse is that because you cannot provide sustainable employment for the people, you and I are tax revenue setting aside and be paying 700 cedis. And if I would survive on 700 cedis?
Not at all.
So why would we do that? And that was done because of politics. And I'm happy that he raised the idea of MPP and this politics. Because of cheap politicking, because of the fact that they wanted to suppress a candidate in the name of Alan Chemante, let's go and give the money to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. I thought that was...
Me too.
You were with me until Dr. Baumia came. I was with you.
I am explaining this, but you are not getting the drift. There are 2 billion that was given. The NAPCO. The NAPCO was implemented by Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
Okay.
Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, you and I agree that was a bogus policy. Don't you agree with me? That you set up aside more than 2 billion to be paying graduates 700 cedis every month. Do you think it's a good policy?
But I understand what the NPP at the time said they wanted to. Then Kamal, you're here. What was really the comment? What was the NAPCO message?
First of all,
no, but my time, you don't have to. No.
It's your time.
First of all, Alan Chemante did not have a policy on his own.
No.
It was
my question directly.
Policy.
You yourself said it a while ago.
Let's let him understand.
You yourself said it a while ago.
No. He was appointed by the president to ensure that his policy towards 1D, 1F is achieved.
Okay, you get to answer the NAPCO question then. Please proceed.
He's unable to answer the NAPCO question. So the truth of the matter is that we wasted that money. And that is why we do politics. Remember, in the days leading to the 2024 elections, we were told by these same people that they had employed 2.3 million Ghanaians. We were in this country. In Second D. We were told. And we told them that, look, don't do politics with employment. Because when you do that, you annoy the sensibilities of those who are staying in their homes and not having jobs. They said, no. Now, what are we being told? That we sit down, we come here and then spew lies, we do propaganda only to be faced with the reality. Now, let's go into the reality. The truth of the matter is I also have a problem with the Ghana's Statistical Service.
What would that be?
In one breath, they say that the drifting of population or the increase of population is what is causing this multidimensional poverty. In another breath, Greater Accra is the lowest in terms of this multi-dimensional poverty threshold. How do you marry the two? Because to my mind, and statistically, Greater Accra and Accra proper has more population than Ashanti and the Eastern. So that conclusion for me does not sit well. They may have to come back and then explain further. However, what I believe is the cause of all our woes is that poverty is a function of corruption and mismanagement.
Okay.
Simplicity. Look, no country is endowed with abundant resources. What they do is that they make judicious use of the limited resources that is available to them. And then with that limited resource, they make sure that people do not inflate projects. The last time we came, we were discussing Agenda 111. Is that not the case?
Mm-hmm.
MFI, if we were given the opportunity to implement a project, would you at a go say that you were constructing 111 hospitals? Can you imagine if we were even done with 5, what it would have done to this multidimensional poverty we are talking about? Because they are saying that access to healthcare is not there. But someone just decided on the author of corruption, just chop, not anything, make no mistake, to say that, look, I am going to implement 111 projects when he or the government of the day knew very well that they did not have the means to complete all of it. So corruption comes in there. We are talking about access to education. This is a country where even foodstuffs that are meant for secondary school, headmasters and so on and so on, they take it and go and sell it. Come back to the issue of corruption. This is a country where roads, monies we go to the Afro-Exim Bank to go and borrow money to come and construct our roads, and somebody miraculously will let the money be missing. So that is the bane of the Ghanaian problem. If we are going to have corruption in this country, just half it. I'm telling you, your multi-dimensional poverty situation will be better. Will be better.
Okay.
That is all our problem.
Okay. Thank you, Solomon. So, Hamza,
yes.
Respond to this. And it's not just a concern of Kamal anyway. What was this? Why did the minister announce that they're discontinuing 1D, 1F? Because central or primary to this conversation is access to jobs. And that we know by extension will create jobs. Why did we discontinue?
I think that, first of all, it is important to clarify that the NDC in opposition raised concerns with that particular policy of one district, one factory. Because in conformity with the Nanado administration at the time that believed in empty rhetorics, we felt and were deeply convinced that it was one major rhetorical policy direction of that government. Again, there was no commitment or whatsoever to actually supporting industrialization through the implementation of the one district, one factory policy. And listening to Solo, they had the opportunity of working with Alan Chairman, and it is quite clear that that commitment is not there. And for 8 good years, MFA, it is difficult for the MPP to make references to working factories under that policy. And so the position of this government was quite clear. Over the years, governments have championed the formation of factories.
Come on, let's have one.
Either through government leading the role, or supporting the private sector to do so without a fanciful throw of jargons intended to deceive the good people of this country. So the fact that we have taken out a policy direction that is rooted in rhetorics, one district, one factory, does not mean that this government is not committed to the industrialization drive through the creation of factories and also supporting the private sector to contribute its quota to that particular drive. MFA, not long ago, we discussed the 24-hour economy document when it was launched by His Excellency President Mahama and the Secretariat. And if you scan through that blueprint, it is quite clear that apart from the mandate of ensuring that businesses run 24 hours, especially businesses in the private sector, inherent in that particular policy direction is also a commitment on the part of this government to support industrialization through meaningful support to either existing businesses or new businesses that are intending to come out in the agricultural sector. So that is still in line with government's agenda to
did we do any research that supports the idea that one district, one factory was just rhetoric?
Absolutely, but you don't even need anybody to tell you. They are here around this table. They should give us examples of working factories under the one district, one factory.
So many.
They should.
So many.
And you see, MFA. Oh, are you going to allow me?
I'm listening to you. That was
you should ask you.
Are you disrupting?
Hamza, land on it.
Why are you disrupting? Drop this issue of factories
again. You have no example of a working factory under you. It is quite clear.
Would this be factual, Kamal? No working factory?
They should give us one district, one factory that they champion.
So, can I come in now?
No, but let me.
Well, you land, then you answer that question.
I thought he was
again, I listened to Kamal, and quite clearly, he does not even have an iota of understanding of the very ideology of the party he represents today. You heard him make references to privatization NDC drove in terms of the government state-owned enterprises. Clearly, the NPP's ideology is an ideology that is rooted in supporting the private sector to develop. The NDC's ideology is one that bestrides a threshold between government intervention and that of what? An enabling environment for the private sector to foster, to grow. Now, in line with the NDC's ideology and in recognition of private sector support for growth, that initiated or informed the NDC government to drive the policy of privatization of some of the state-owned enterprises intended at achieving efficiency. So if there is any political party in this country that must pat the NDC in the back for actually driving through that policy intervention of privatization that at the time led to instrumental growth in our economy, it should be the New Patriotic Party. That's one. And no, please, when you are speaking, finally.
How are you going to speak?
Finally, because you were interjecting.
No.
You were interjecting. And you see, MFA, finally.
This is NDC MPP strictly. So when they wrap, we'll go to the next topic.
When I started my submission, MFA, I resisted the temptation to go political. Because if you look at this multidimensional report that has been presented, it gives a certain picture of the fruits, of the effects of the fruits of government in 2025. And that's why I told you that a comparison of the figures between 2023 and 2024 and that of 2025 gives a telling impact of the management of both the city and our debt situation and how that has reflected. Because if you look at the multidimensional, it's not just on incomes. It is also on the successes in the educational sector, health, and many other socio-economic factors that affect the good people of this country. And so if these indices tells a story that there seems to be an improvement, it also dovetails into the fact that the management of our economy has actually impacted lives out there. But as a government that is very sensitive and responsible, then that appreciates that we still have so much work to do. We are not dwelling on these negligible, because we will call it negligible successes, because our ambition is huge, MFA, until we reach a point that we can tell with certainty that Ghanaians are beginning to reap the benefits of our intervention, and that many Ghanaians are benefiting from it. This government will be cautious in terms of how we celebrate our successes. That's why you have not seen us even organizing Kenke parties at the Ministry of Finance celebrating the fact that we have gone to Guru. So we are measured, and they should not take our measurement, our being measured for granted, especially when it comes to telling our story. We simply do not want
Hamza is fine. I think the point is being made.
We want them to appreciate that this is a government that is sensitive, and as much as we are achieving a lot, we know that so much work still needs to be done. Many of our people are still struggling with poverty.
The government, I think in 2019, published a full list of 58 completed factories under the 1D, 1F. Except that the 58th one didn't publish the number of persons they had employed directly or indirectly. But respond to this. In Hamza, everybody eats kenke. It's only when kenke was eaten at the ministry that it became a problem. Please,
You see,
when you eat kenke for both.
First of all, I have not shifted away from our core belief as a party that we believe in privatization and we believe in ensuring that the individual, of course, gains an opportunity and strength to build himself or herself in a society that we call a society with freedom. I have not shifted away from it. What I said was that the NDC, through the PNDC, or the PNDC through the NDC, I should say, whichever way it comes, because the NDC is a byproduct of PNDC. It is a fact that they implemented the Divestiture Implementation Committee to sell factories that were actually state-owned, and over 300 factories were sold, and today there is less story to tell about these factories. That's the point I was making. It is not to say that I am departing from our core belief in privatization. No. If you have privatized, what measures were put in place to ensure that the good intention that you had to sell them so that they could better off? What is the story of those factories today? Pathetic, sad. That's the point I was making. Now, two, I am happy you have answered the other question.
Which were
whether or not
which factories are
actually, wait a minute.
Which factories?
I am saying those factories sold. What's the story of those factories?
So to give us the
there are over 300 factories that were sold.
Mention 4 factories, and we can access
what is happening today?
So mention 4.
Oh, come on. And the Divestiture Implementation Committee.
So mention 4 of the factors.
Does he have to? Okay, we
so that we can access his claims.
Distract me. I am saying that
because I've countered Hamza on the fact that he says that one district, one factory. I have fact
I refuse to go the way he wants me.
Okay, proceed.
You don't know what you are talking about.
I am saying it is a fact. You don't know. If you don't know, there's just
mention 4.
I am saying that. It is a fact that the NDC sold factories, and those factories today, there is less story to be told.
You are a policy analyst. Now this is true. Just for my viewers.
No, I'm not denying the fact that factories were private. They were private, but he should mention 2.
Okay.
And we can evaluate the status.
Okay, then we'll
now we move on. We move on. You have answered the question of whether or not 1D, 1F created some factories or helped the private sector to create some factories. You have answered that question. that you said that last time we checked, a report was actually published, which report spoke about some 58 factors, as it were. You did mention that. You see, let's get serious. You see, discerning minds are watching us. And I'm told that on Thursdays, people who watch this show are really happy. You understand? People like you, people like Zato, and then Solo are here. So, of course, let's try to comport ourselves, and then, of course, appear as discerning minds. What I want us to know and to understand is that those factories, well, that policy was a very good policy, which policy was geared towards industrializing this country, which I had made the point earlier, that if this government, okay, had actually looked at it and said, okay, when we were coming, we did mention that we're going to do 24-hour economy. 24-hour economy with a formula of 1-3-3. That a single job will be handled by 3 people. You said it to us. So what then pushed you to depart from a policy that, of course, will ensure that your 1-3-3 would have been achieved?
If I look at the 8 thematic areas of the 24-hour economy, I see that factories have expressions under most of those thematic.
Did they say they were cancelling 1D1F? 1D1F wasn't bringing mangoes. He doesn't. 1D1F, that one wasn't meant for latrine pits. 1D1F, was it for latrine pits or factories? I'm asking a question.
You lost me on that.
Why? Your question you asked, that's why I asked you. You said if you looked at the blueprint talks about factories. And I'm saying the 1D1F, that one was for latrine pits, not factories. Is that what you're saying? So, you see, the point is that, listen to me, the point I'm making is that if you, of course, believe in building factories, and there are existing factories, that there's a policy that helps us to industrialize, come and build on it. You don't come and say, we've scrapped this, then the next moment you say, we want to also set up factories.
Also, when I read what the minister says, the minister says that they are not doing one district, one factory. They are moving it to agro. They gave it a different name.
Look.
Does that mean
he spoke about rhetorics. The 2025 budget said how many chip compounds were they going to? When they asked Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, look at how he was struggling. Your 2025 budget, you said by the end of the year, you are going to build some 50 or more chips compound. A journalist asked you a question. Reference to your own budget. The year has ended. How many chips compound have you? He was there going around primary healthcare and what has done what? He could not cite even one. That's rhetorics.
That's a sad situation.
A typical example of rhetorics.
But Dr. Zato, I hear both parts.
Come and sit here. Yeah, I am only trying to let you understand that.
And I personally. Okay, let's have one.
Who are rather more.
Let's have one meeting.
Rhetorical.
Let's have one conversation.
Yes.
Okay. I also have a personal problem with discontinuity of projects, especially when there's a new government. Yeah. Hamza alludes to the fact that they think that whole one district, one factory was just rhetorics. I mean, this can be fact-checked. A factory is a physical space. You can see people walking in and out. It cannot be just on paper. Okay. But why really did the NDC have to discontinue it, rebrand it, retoss it around? Was that needed?
Well, no. The short answer is no. But we can go back. Hamza says something that is true, that the NDC, against all its impulses and its ideological bona fides, embarked on the diversity implementation program. There was a reason why. It came with the SAPs and the ERPs, structural adjustment programs and economic recovery programs. And part of it is that state-owned enterprises were some of the worst culprits. They had some of the biggest debts, and that was pulling down the Ghanaian economy. So that was why when Rawlings people say he turned to the West from his socialist rhetoric, he was met with this reality. IMF World Bank simply said, look, you have to reform. And the reform meant that you have to then restructure and reform these SOEs. That is what led to the DIC coming in to sell them. They structured into 3. There were critical SOEs, and then there were some that could be done. So you saw the Ghana Water Company, ECG, and others were not privatized immediately, but others were sold. So, yes, it's true that the NDC did that, and against its own, should I say, center-left social democratic ideologies. So that is something that, yes. And when Kufuor came, Kufuor continued with that. True to his center-right private sector policy. That was why his old Ghana Telecom went and some others went. He continued with that, with those reforms. So ideologically, philosophically, those things did happen. Okay. And that is why you then saw that when Kufuor said he was going to make the private sector engine of growth, golden age of business, it was all an ideology towards trying to move this economy from state-centered 19 years of the Rawlings to a more private sector centered. So those things, the ideology has not played a very big role in our policy analysis, and I'm happy we are today, because sometimes if we just did that, then we'll be adding more quality or better understanding to why we do things and how we don't do things.
So clear example, and we'll move to the oil marketing company conversation. Clear example is that NDC has its ideologies, the MPP has its ideologies, and these ideologies, they influence the decisions, projects, everything that a government, when they come to power. So, for example, 24-hour economy.
Good. So that's why I'm not coming in. We would hope that they would do, and we hope that the discussions around our policies will then center that, so that we can learn more, like we are trying to do this morning. That is when you then realize that 24-hour economy, before 24-hour economy was then the 1D1F. And you realize that Nana Akufo-Addo gave the 1D1F to one of his most loyal and trusted ministers, Alan Chiramanten. He gave it to him because he strongly believed that Alan Chiramanten would do it. That's why we say that Alan Chiramanten.
I've not had my bite on it too.
He gave it to him because he trusted him very well. He said, look, unemployment in Ghana is a national security issue. So that's why I said, look, Honorable Alan, I trust in your expertise, I trust in your knowledge. Take this big policy and deliver very much for the Ghanaians. He did that. He gave it to him because he believed he could do that. And so we can ask the question today how he handled it, how he did it. We can
Solo is here to help. I owe you lunch.
We're learning.
I owe you lunch.
We're learning. This morning we are in class.
I don't want to get involved.
I'm just saying that he gave a policy to somebody that was strong.
Let's bring it home.
I expect you to do justice.
Guys, let's bring it home. So when they shoot one factory,
yes.
Does it sit in the
chief architect is here. Yes, the chief architect of one is
it does, because the idea was that industrialization, private sector. So the government was supposed to work or help to create an enabling environment, under the Ministry of Trade and the Honorable Alex Chiramanten to create this enabling environment for private sector.
Okay,
yes, for private business.
Another home, 24-hour economy.
So I want to tie it.
Okay,
I want to tie it. So if so that's why you realize that the policy came with tax reliefs. It came with tax reliefs. It came to tax reforms. It came with certain incentives to incentivize the private sector to participate and get engaged in this in the 1D1F.
Yes.
So it was a very good policy.
Alan did well.
He did very well.
Yeah.
Now, then he left, and that's a different thing.
Okay, so it's not strange when the NDC comes to power with their policy. If they carry their policy and their ideology, it will not fit in the one district.
No, that's not the issue. You can say that. You can say that. You can say that ideologically. The NDC could then say that we will change the incentives. Instead of making the incentives to be private sector led, we could make it to a state-centered growth.
Which is an alteration.
Good. So what I mean is that if you also, but honestly, if you look at the 24-hour document, if you take it like this, and you look at the 1D1F document, the similarities are stunning.
Okay.
They all aim to do one thing, to induce or to juice up demand.
Okay.
And so if you look at, so it's only a name change, if you ask me honestly, even though the minister says that we are changing the 1D1F. In reality, if you look at both documents, they hope to achieve a similar objective. And that is what I'm saying, because the only way to get the 24-hour economy working is through industrialization.
Okay.
So, like I said,
it's a good place to land. I think it's a good place.
So let me quickly deal with.
But what do you have to deal with? Is it not a fact that
he has questioned the integrity of this?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
You have allowed Mr. He run down Mr. Lanjaman. What are you talking about?
No, I don't deal with
what are you talking about?
Oh no, you are being unfair to Solo.
No. Are you?
He said
Solo is.
I'm not Solo, but I'm just.
Are you Solo?
He said, Dr. said that Alan Chiramanten did so well with 1D1F.
So what you are saying, Alan Chiramanten did well? So now you have
oh God,
Alan Chiramanten did well.
Hang on.
Let's go. He has confessed. He said Alan did well. So no problem.
Did well as a
But by the way, Hamza, why are you so concerned about Solo?
I don't know about it. Because the way a manner
Zato went about.
Zato first of all.
If you do that, you know what you're doing. You're telling me indirectly that he's sitting right by me, but I can't hear him.
He said,
I heard it. No, maybe.
Why not be loyal
appointees of
You buy fuel. All of you do not buy fuel.
Let me
you don't buy fuel. Let's talk about
let me
fuel.
clear one small thing.
You see, before you come, well, we understood what
what you were saying.
What did he do? What was I doing? You see?
I mean, this is politics.
What did he do? MFA, they are confusing. What did he do?
MFA is my time.
What did he do?
MFA.
They kept Alan Chimantin.
I'm taking it.
It was synonymous to putting Alan Chimantin in the ring.
I have not forfeited any time.
And tying his arm and telling him to fight for me. That was what you did to him.
Hang on.
I have not forfeited.
Gentlemen, you know what? You're never kind to me on Thursday.
But you want to discriminate against the United Party here? Oh no! You gave this man the opportunity to speak copiously about Mr. Lanchamatin and try to run Mr. Lanchamatin down. And I'm saying that I will disagree.
Please,
I know Zato very well.
If he
Zato's mindset.
Why are you people bringing his background behavior to TV? That's not what I said.
Hey, we have been doing discussions every day.
So you couldn't tell.
I promise you, I saw a man.
After they kept
God bless you. God bless you. Yes.
Okay, then let's
go. Let's move on. He says he has praised
he
was the best minister. He did very well. Is that not it? Let it go.
That's the case, right?
According to Zato.
No, Zato.
I said,
no, but yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? The best minister, he did so well at the 1D1F. You praised him for that. Is that what you are saying?
No,
yes or no?
I allow yes or no. Yes or no? I allow
yes or no?
He didn't rank him.
Oh, now he's changing.
He didn't rank him.
Let it go.
It's a fair question.
I just said that it was one of the most loyal ministers of Nanado.
It's enough.
Very big.
Hang on. He gave who? Which one was the big?
Okay.
Which portfolio was big? Trade and ministry. Don't go there. Then now comes back to why I must expose that.
Okay.
The trade and industry ministry that was bequeathed to Mr. Lantemantin. You know what we call the special initiative ministry? How Kumsi's ministry. It used to be under the trade and industry ministry. They took it out. Exim Bank, the board, ever since the NDC established that, the Trade and Industry Ministry had a representative on that board. They took it out. Look, this one, 1D1F. The first 1 year, Mr. Lanchamatin was fighting the Kufuor administration to take hold of the 1D1F. Because
he was MPP and now UP. That's the fact.
The 1D1F, they deliberately went and set up a secretariat under the presidency. Listen to it though. A policy that was provided by Mr. Lanchamatin in the MPP's manifesto, they set up a secretariat and made gift to Ohinu Kredu
to implement that.
The woman didn't have any clue about it until they realized that things were getting out of hand.
So in essence, the ministry which he headed,
they took all the juicy part. They took the ingenuity of Mr. Lanchamatin to do what he did, even with the limited resources and all the sabotage. So he must explain it that way. So he could have done better if he was supported, but for their cruelty. And today I'm happy that for the first time. Why did he resign? You see the mindset.
Why did he resign?
Hang on.
If he had resigned, would you have had it?
I'm concerned because Kamal is MPP and he's calm.
Yes. No, I'm talking policy.
No, he's an MPP man. Don't let him deceive.
I'm talking policy.
Let's talk about
Let's
talk about that. Yes.
That's when we were
parliamentary aspirants on the ticket of
I'm listening.
He and Kamal.
The day you make up your mind,
you are also aspiring.
When we were
I know where he's aspiring to become a member of parliament.
Possibly. I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
Gentlemen.
I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
I think we should vote that I shouldn't moderate on Thursday.
Oh, no. I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
Where have I declared?
You are focused on
I'm focused on her. Go ahead. He's a host.
I'm going to have
What kind of agenda is your
No, you have to be able.
I'm going to have Kojo.
No. We unanimously reject that idea. You should stay where he is.
So just when we're enjoying some price cuts in fuel, we see that oil giants, something that started like on a lighter note on social media, has escalated quickly. Star Oil, which is one of the largest contributors to that sector, has with immediate effect as of yesterday, says that it suspended their membership of COMAC. And they cite a few reasons. They say that despite they being one of the biggest financial contributor to the sector, they are walking away because they think that the chamber or COMAC as an entity do not represent their views fairly. when it comes to discos. And this all started because they say that the price floor that has been set by the regulator that you can't go beyond, they could have gone a little further or below if that price floor didn't exist. The MPA has had some conversations in the media as well on this. Where do you stand on this? Solomon, I'll start with you. Where do you stand on this? Is Star Oil coming to an ant fight with the sledgehammer? Are they right in the way they feel and in walking away? This walk away, would it affect me, the consumer, in any way?
I mean, Star Oil is right. That policy floor, what is it? The floor policy by the MPA is totally needless. Absolutely needless. You see, you are in a competitive environment. Remember, Ghana started the implementation of full deregulation in 2015. That was when we fully deregulated.
It was not full deregulation.
I'm coming. That is what they told us.
It was not. It was partial deregulation.
I'm coming.
In 2015.
But remember, if in 2015, I'm saying that it was fully deregulated because we didn't have the price floor. No, we didn't. It was only implemented in 2024.
Yeah.
May of 2024. You understand?
Well, then Hamza is correct. It's partial deregulation.
No. It was until 2024 that they brought in this policy.
Yeah.
So when they started, the whole idea was that the MPA would be playing this role as a regulatory body. Allows the market forces of demand and supply. Because if you are a businessman, MFA, or a businesswoman, you know your cost component. And in spite of knowing your cost component, you tell me that this is your product, you can sell it at 1 cedi. Why must I be concerned? Because you know your business, whether or not you are making margins. In any case, if you are telling me that this is the floor below which you cannot price, why did the NPA not give us the ceiling beyond which they can also not price? So it only brought this policy to protect the OMCs and not the consuming public. And I'm a consumer, so why must I not be interested in the ceiling to which I will not be asked to buy a product? Star Oil is saying that looking at their business model or metrics, looking at the arrangement that they have with their suppliers, they believe that they can further go down their pricing. But they are not being able to do so because of the floor, the ceiling that has been given to them. And so whether or not things are so improved in the international market, whether or not our interest rate situation has improved, you still have to charge a certain amount. Is that the way you do your business?
But at the time that they were advancing this argument, they were not even at the point of the floor price.
No, they are saying...
They were a little, some margins ahead of the floor price.
I don't want to go by that. What they are saying is that they have the capacity. And beyond this discussion, what it would then mean is that once the MPA removes the floor, that is where I take on the Star Oil. You think we are just going to leave them? That you have assured us that given the opportunity, you can go down. It's a very delicate matter for even the Star Oil itself. Then it brings in to question their credibility. That you have promised that you could go down or you could go below the floor. Now, there is no floor. Before the floor was removed, it was saying 9.8. We expect you then to go say 9.6. Other than that, you become an entity with no credibility. And that is why we must go with what they are saying. Mind you, they are also an industry player. Look, I keep hearing people make the argument that removing the price floor would encourage smuggling, would encourage low-quality product and so on and so forth. This is neither here nor there. The MPA, the cost of a liter of diesel of petrol that you buy, includes what we call fuel markings. These markings are to ensure what? Quality of product. You understand? By the way, would removing the price floor affect government revenue? Would it affect our tax revenue? In fact, if they are going to reduce prices, what is going to happen is that there will be a lot of demand would exceed, or there will be volumes. The volumes that we are buying currently will be higher than what we are buying, and that will even cause government to rake in more revenue.
Okay. Please let me just bring Kamal in.
Yeah.
Kamal, so if you listen to the NPA, it's not as if the NPA just got up and then they decided that 2 years ago they were going to introduce the price floor. It was still the chamber, COMAC, I should say. It's more of a collaborative effort. MP also recognizes that there are really other variables that contribute to pricing, really. Beyond the variables that we all know or what Star Oil is saying, there are other factors. Solomon mentioned that there could be smuggling, people won't pay taxes and all of that. And they say these are very potent issues. And so if they don't bring a ceiling, there's going to be a challenge.
Well,
a floor price.
It is important we establish that as a country, a small country as we appear, we have over 170 oil marketing companies as we sit. For me, to be very honest with you, when in 2015 we set off to implement the deregulation, our idea was that, look, governments upon governments have always been accused of higher fuel prices. And government would have to use our hard-earned consolidated fund money to go and buy fuel and come and sell. Why don't we make sure that there's deregulation, then we bring in the private sector, which will buy from the BDCs and then, of course, sell to the consumer as an OMC. Now, this went back and forth until it was established in 2015, and then to where we are now. Somewhere 2 years ago, an argument of this floor price also came in. Whether or not there are big players in the game that would like to edge out the small players. That's why I said 170 companies. Okay, whether all of them are in good standing, I have to check at the MPA to find out. But what I do know is that registered was over 170 companies. The point here is that these COMAC members, who are in majority, say that, look, because of our numbers and because of our strength that varies, if this floor price is removed, we risk getting Total, and also let me not mention company's name, we risk getting these bigger companies, okay, competing as us or edging us out with pricing. So assuming there's no floor price, then every single company has its right to set up its price, okay? Whether below the floor price or whatever it is that we're going to call, but there's no floor price. So I decided to say that, look, I have gone to get my fuel. I think that when I even sell at 7 cedis, I'm going to make my profit. But because you are making more volumes as a big company, if you make 7 cedis and your profit is just even a peswa, because of the volumes you are actually selling, you understand, the smaller company cannot compete with you.
People make the argument that there are two ways only in which you can cut your price. You are either reducing your margins or you're smuggling.
I'm saying that, look, I'm saying that what is the main contention right now for the majority on COMAC is that let us have a favorable environment for all of us. We have agreed that MPA should actually appear as the regulator. MPA set a floor price for us. We're all watching the floor price, and then based on the floor price, we now trade in the market. So I can go, if it is a floor price 950, and I decide, okay, I'll go 951 or 952. Star Oil can say, I want to go the 950. You understand what I mean? But you cannot go beyond, below the 950 as it were. So the major issue is, what MPA is doing is saying, look, let me not be unfair to all the players because I am regulating all of them. That's one. Now, two, the fear also is that if the bigger companies are allowed to move and there's no floor price, and then they edge at the smaller companies, tomorrow, as a result of monopolization, the consumer will then suffer because there are few in the system now. So they decide that, look, now we are going to sell it at 10. There's no floor price. No law also stops them from selling at 10. When in actual fact, they should have been selling at 8. You get what I mean? So MPA says, no, I will not create such a room for that to happen so that there will not be monopoly in the system, even though there's deregulation in place. That's the second aspect. Then that is where Solo said that, look, Star Oil, at that point, we are going to hold you responsible if you are supposed to sell cheaper and you have gone higher because you are now monopolized. But we can't be sure of that. For me, I will tell you, this has nothing to do with politics. This is for the consumer and also for the environment called the petroleum environment.
Okay.
We should not have an unfavorable environment for others and favorable for others. Let MPA check it, and then we'll see how it goes.
Protect the consumer. Why do we behave as if the person in the business or the value chain do not need to be protected as well?
And you see, that is why I'm a bit concerned about the position my brother, Solo took this morning in relation to the matter. And hopefully after this platform, we engage further.
Of course.
And exchange ideas. Possibly the next showing, my brother would likely change his position.
Maybe you join me. He's a consumer.
Most likely to. But, you see, MFA, first of all, you need to understand that many of these policies are taken or implemented by government with the mindset of protecting not just the interests of the consumer, but to a very large extent ensuring stability as far as business and
that's even the main
concerned. And you can only appreciate the NPA price floor. You can only appreciate the NPA price floor. You can only appreciate the NPA price floor if you understand the evolution of the deregulation concept. Like my brother referenced in 2015, MFA, you need to understand that we are dealing with a system that prior to deregulation in 2015. Government was having the challenge of having to intervene in the petroleum sector through subsidies and under recoveries. That eventually led to a situation where the debt portfolio was becoming unsustainable. Indeed, I remember somewhere in 2015, we were having to look for in excess of 3 billion Ghana cedis to retire debts that were owing to the OMCs, largely because of government intervention through subsidies.
Yes.
And so it was putting a major strain on our public space and in terms of even our international post trade as far as our finance was concerned. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, concerned about the situation, decided that there was a need for us to take the bull by the horn by deregulating the sector and allowing Ghanaians to actually pay the true cost of petroleum prices. And that was what led, that was in 2015, that was what led to the amendment of the NPA Act to implement that partial deregulation. But in doing so, he also knew that there were some of the sectors that we still needed to intervene through subsidies, areas like premix, because of our collective desire to ensure that we give the needed support to the fishing industry. And so many of these sectors were still under subsidies. But partially, liquefied petroleum gas and the other, what's the name, gasoline and coal, fell under those that were deregulated. Now, fast forward, one needs to also appreciate that even the amendment of 2015, inherent in it was a price floor mechanism. It was not boldly stated, but in the calculation of the ex-refinery price and the ex-form prices, NPA was quite clear of the margins, taxes, and levies that they were adding, especially to the ex-form prices, based on which a ceiling was given, an idea was given and communicated to the OMCs, based on which they then also were required to communicate to OMC through indicative prices.
But that is not the price floor we are talking about.
No, I'm coming. I said that there was an inherent price floor because they were meant to indicate prices to NPA.
All right.
Okay.
Now, MPP decided to take it a bit higher. And indeed, commendable, in line with our quest to sanitize our sector. They decided to introduce the price floor in 2024.
But was there any chaos before 2024 in terms of how the...
No, you see, but one thing you must understand is that you simply, as a government, do not have to wait for chaos to happen. Sometimes you can anticipate the likelihood of proactive and must be proactive enough to prevent.
The oil marketing companies themselves acknowledged that there were emergence of new oil marketers that were pricing in a way that was affecting their prices.
You see,
you want to finish?
I have something. Yeah.
Yes. MFA, please let me land. Don't interrupt. Now, MFA, with the price floor mechanism, the debate as to whether it should be removed or not must be situated not in the context of Ghana's government desire to make profits from the sector. The discussion has nothing to do with government revenue. No. I heard my brother say that, making reference to the fact that why is that the only place we can make revenue?
No. I never said
unless
that.
I got you.
I never said that.
So now it is not a revenue debate. It is intended to protect not just the consumers, but also the industry players also. We are dealing with over 300 OMCs. No. And out of these 300,
only 10 of them have control of over 70% of our market share. What that simply means is that without the NPA price floor mechanism, because they control in excess of 70% of the market share, they can actually proceed to determine prices through undercutting.
Absolutely.
Even if fuel prices are actually supposed to sell at 10 Ghana cedis per liter, MFR, they are likely to come together and go 9 or 8 to take out the rest of the 200 who make up the 30%. And immediately that happens, these companies can once again gang up and dictate fuel prices in this country. That government would have no option than to intervene again through subsidies. So the amendment of 2015, the amendment of 2015 that was intended to solve the situation of the subsidies problem would eventually come back. Because, trust me, they can actually proceed to create artificial shortages. And that's how the capitalists work. They send you incentives. They tell you can reduce this further. We can do this like Star Oil. Please, can I land?
Yes.
Can I land? That anybody who understands the capitalist market, anybody who understands the capitalist market, that's how they do. They extend to you a carrot. So they assure you Star Oil is doing everything in tandem with the capitalist economy. They are telling you that we can reduce the prices further. It is government that doesn't want us to reduce it further. They know that Ghanaians would be excited about further reduction, and Ghanaians will support their call. And if that is done, and the price floor is taken out, they take control of the market, then they begin to dictate the prices through artificial shortages of petroleum in the system. And immediately that happens, they begin to dictate the prices. And government will not have no way of intervening. Also, finally, this is important. MFA, this is important. You see, apart from that, there is also the issue of market instability. If the price floor is taken off, there's the tendency that it will affect planning when it comes to businesses in this country, because they will not be in a position to predict fuel prices to be able to plan for the year.
Why?
And there's also going to be the likelihood of people in Greater Accra paying different rates than people in
northern regions. You see, we are getting it wrong. It cannot be. You see, that's why I disagree with my brother Hamza. First of all, this price floor we are talking about has nothing to do with the UPPF, has nothing to do with all the margins and taxes. It is about setting a minimum price.
No, that is not true.
No.
But it has an
The NPA in setting the price floor takes into account the ex-refinery differential and that of the X1 price.
It doesn't
because if you take the X1 price, for example, you have the margins, taxes, and levies that government would pay
already in this country.
On the refined petroleum product, and that would determine how much
already in this country.
So it is not accurate.
There is price collusion by Goyle, Shell, and Total.
Okay.
I mean, when you have three entities, they don't all buy their product from one source. They don't all take their letters of credit or letter of credit from one bank. They don't have fixed costs in terms of salary structure. That when you go to Shell, a station manager is paid 1,000. Then you go to Goyle, a station manager is paid 1,000. So on what basis?
But the fact is that
because the fact that they are not all very different.
Yep. Are they?
Everyone has
dollar is the same.
They all buy from different places. They all have. Some of them even buy on account.
But the rate.
Some of them even buy on account. They don't operate with a fixed overhead cost. So why would they price at the same rate? In any case, when this whole thing started, interestingly, people are saying the big ones will cut out the smaller ones. It will interest you to know that most often, these small companies that you see, OMCs, they were having lower prices than the Shells and the Goyles.
Because they all do not operate at one. Is that not the reason why the NPA says that let's regulate you so that one person does not?
So if the argument is anything to go by, then why is the NPA failing to also have a price cap? Now, you say you are protecting consumers. As you speak, me as a consumer, this oil marketing company.
In principle,
I want to hear.
I'm coming.
So you are wrong.
No. Price cap. When was the last time?
That is why. No, they have a price. I'm telling you that in theory they have a price cap. And do you know how?
There's no theory here. We are doing practicality.
No, let me give you an example. It is not for decorative purposes that MPA requires the OMCs to send their prices in every price.
No, but that does not mean
because they cannot go beyond. And they cannot go below the price floor.
I want to hear
when you came.
So in theory and in principle,
you were
there's a price cap.
a liter of diesel at 23.
You are completely wrong.
When was the last time MPA told us that oil marketing companies above 20 cedi you cannot increase your prices? We don't have that. We only have the floor, but no cap.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a cap too?
But why do you think that they have to send their price? The MPA sets the price window with them.
And I'm saying that they cannot have a cap. They don't have the maximum limit with which they can go. What is the maximum limit?
They do.
What is the maximum limit?
Let me answer.
What is the maximum limit?
Let me answer. Fair to Dr. Zato.
Zato is a policy analyst.
First of all,
let him
You don't understand that sector at all.
So he disagrees with you. So tell him there's no cap.
I'm happy to see that.
There's a cap.
He said he doesn't have a cap.
No, that's not what he said.
The point what I'm making is that the floor.
Alaji,
talk to me. Let them have their
see, when you see Hamza and Alaji agreeing like this, it's because they have the benefit of understanding it from government, from the policy perspective, that they can come to it with more.
They have been in government before.
So I'm really grateful that you can see that cohesion from them, because they understand it from, let's say, more from the government perspective and also from the business perspective. I'm glad about that. One, this morning, or I think from last night, my good friend Edwiji Tamakulu has been caught in a battle between two big marauding elephants, the market and then the consumers. And then he's trying to settle it. I can see him trying to do the best. If there's any one person outside there who has what it takes to get all this people together, it is him. So, Ediji, this morning I don't envy you. I know your hands are full, and I know that you can handle it. And you can handle as a regulator. There's also something that most regulators face in terms of policy. Because, one, you have to try to address the concerns of consumers, the masses, the public. But in doing that, you sometimes also see governments trying to protect businesses. Government is not doing that because they don't know that the businesses would at any opportunity, should I say, cheat, or any opportunity try to increase their profits. Governments are doing that because, as Hamza put it, the 30% of other small OMCs also employ Ghanaians. And one of the biggest challenges that every government faces is unemployment. So the last thing you want or you don't want to see is that a lot of these small, let me say relatively small OMCs have collapsed. And then a lot of the people, the young men and women, we just talk about unemployment, have been thrown out. So the government has an eye on making sure that, because in some places, in some villages you go, some communities you go, the only form of formal employment is the 2, 3, 4 people who are employed in this fuel station. So the government also has a duty to make sure that these people continue to be in a job. So it's always sometimes challenging. That is where the idea of market failure and government failure comes in. Always difficult for government to try to balancing those things, two things come. But one of the things that makes me excited today is because the provocateur in this whole thing seems to be Star Oil.
Explain.
Well, they are the people that are threatening to move out. And I'm happy. I'm happy that because it is not, what's the name? It is not the foreign companies, OMCs, that are doing that. It's a locally made, it's a locally based company that is all of a sudden causing all this trouble. And I'm glad about that. I buy oil from Star. Their prices are cheapest. So I like that. So I'm happy that they are those. They are oil like you, and I'm glad that over the years, Star has emerged
bigger players
to be one of the biggest players, even though the biggest player. Whatever formula,
Star Oil wouldn't have attained.
Whatever. I want to hear. No.
I can assure
How did it help?
Guys.
What was?
No, Hamza. This is the
whatever.
I'm telling you that without that price,
whatever formula Star is using,
Hamza,
I love it. Whatever approach Star is using, I love it. The fact that a local Ghanaian company has emerged to dominate this market and to be one of the biggest players and interrupted the market, I love it.
The largest player.
The largest player. Yeah. Look, people, I'm sure students at the University of Ghana Business School and other places will be reading case studies of how Star did it. But we need these success stories. We need people to study how the Star emerged to beat, what is the name, the biggest ones? Total.
No, the Goya is the
No, I'm looking at Total and the other one, the foreign ones, because that is what it is. Shell, Total, these are biggest foreign companies. For a lot of years, they have dominated the market. Governments are giving them goodies to stay in the market. Goil never, I thought that Goil should have been the one disrupting it now. I thought Goil should have been, but I don't know why Goil sat there. And that is one of the things that monopolies do. that Star has come, Star has found a measure, they have found a theory, they have found a formula to make sure that they are disrupting them good, because Star stays here. And it's not telling other Ghanaian companies that this is how you pick on these big giants and beat them. I'm sure very soon Star will move out of Ghana, they will be in other countries and do well. But at the end of the day, so if Star is now saying that we need other incentives from government to be able to be a dominant player, I pray who government gives them.
So,
I pray.
They are not even asking for incentives. They say remove the price floor.
Until Star Oil became the leader in the market, did they have a challenge with the price?
They had it. They have always had it.
I don't know.
Before.
I don't know.
They have always made the point.
So I believe that. Let me make this point. And I think this should come together with your ideology and philosophy. Let's domesticate. You know domestication?
Yeah,
remember domestication? Yeah. If a private local company, in all governments all over the world, governments try to give incentives to their local companies, to companies that are home. That is why you go all over the world. The tax system is sometimes structured.
Are you anyway suggesting that the removal of the price floor would be...
I'm saying.
Please let me understand.
The point I'm trying to make is that let's make sure that whatever it is that Star, that has helped Star to be where it is, that as a government we have a responsibility to help these local companies to fly.
Are you not interested in how it became that leader in the market? And do you in any way trust a private company over a government regulator?
No, I'm not, it's not over. I'm praying that a regulator will become... My hope is always in a smart, effective and efficient regulator that will make sure that, one, the public interest is protected at all times, but that you create a healthy environment for local businesses to spring.
MFA, you see, prior to Star becoming the market leader, it was well.
Yes.
Star competed under the NPA floor pricing mechanism. And under that mechanism, it competed so effectively to the extent that it emerged in 2025 as the market leader.
Yes. So
that tells you that the floor pricing mechanism does not act as a disincentive to market growth and access. That's one. Secondly, it also gives you an indication that it does not affect indigenous, or it does not act against the interests of indigenous OMCs. Because if an OMC like Star Oil could compete and emerge and beat global superpowers like Total and the rest, including our own well, it means that my brother here, if he is running an OMC, tomorrow under this current dispensation, he should be able to compete and get the needed support. And that needed support is the NPA regulation.
I totally disagree.
Look. And I can assure you, you know the orientation of this NDC.
Yes.
You understand.
This has nothing to do with your government.
No,
you are talking about the oil market. It doesn't.
And I'll tell you
how do you come in.
I'll tell you how it does. You see,
how do you come in?
When we were campaigning to lead this country,
yes,
we made a solemn promise to the good people of this country.
Now what?
There are decisions we will take.
Yes.
To ensure that we resuscitate the Ghanaian economy.
Yes.
And create an enabling environment for Ghanaian businesses to do well.
And also protect the interest of consumers. And I'm a consumer and I'm saying that your price floor does not protect my...
It's not a shouting question.
No.
So
but you want to run away.
And I am telling you, I'm not running away.
Yes.
I'm not running.
So how does it protect you? How does it protect you?
In my earlier submission, I told you that if you are not careful, and the 10% who control the market share, are able to take out the over 200 OMCs.
How do
they will begin to determine pricing by creating artificial shortages. And the 9 Ghana cedis you are desirous to pay for, in less than a year or two from now, you will be paying in excess of 20 Ghana.
It's not true. It's not true.
You have no option. Because that is how businesses work.
You have no option. MFA, listen.
Yeah.
And so this is a government that is looking into the future. We are not being short-sighted.
No,
and the prescriptions you are giving out today in relation to the prices is clearly prescriptions rooted in short-sightedness.
No.
And it is worrying.
MFA, listen.
That is not how you
are done. You are done. You are done.
That is not how you
are done. You are done.
And I'm pretty sure you know Eddie. You know Eddie. You don't know Eddie.
I know him very
and you think that he will preside over
So this is
a system that is injurious.
This is not about
fair enough. You have made your point.
He would have been your number one advocate. You are taking it out.
You are done.
Hang on.
You know him.
First of
and I want to listen to Solo because
so let's go
in
to
all
repeat
of
himself
this,
again.
I the consumer.
He is going to repeat himself.
He has made all the salient points already.
First of all,
No, because
I said he's going to repeat himself. You are here. You see.
No, because listen.
The man is going to repeat himself.
In all of this, we the consumer, or we the consumer, we are the ultimate people that I'm concerned about. So Star Oil advances very solid argument says that, listen, global prices fall.
Yes.
When the CD strengthens, you can now reduce prices.
Exactly.
But if it means that we have to trust both them and the NPA when they give a price floor to know that that's the best deal that they're giving Ghanaians.
Exactly.
Why would I want to trust the NPA?
That's the point. That's why I'm saying that. You see,
I'm just saying that I'm on the side of Star on this.
We are missing the point.
Yes.
First of all,
stay with you.
The company or the entity making this proposal is an industry player. It's the largest industry player.
Yeah.
You understand? They were
as
not
a result of NPA's regulation.
Whichever way they have won.
Let's
flexing their muscle.
As a result of the NPA's
but now they have power, they are spending the power.
Our regulation has birthed them. And today they want to go against that same regulation.
Maybe
so Hamza will not allow me to speak.
Maybe I became
Hamza will not allow me to speak.
catching my breath.
This advocacy this morning, I will destroy every advocacy.
Hamza, no, because maybe I became the market leader catching my breath.
Yes.
And now I have the power. And I want to get more oxygen.
Let them fly. Star Wars to fly. Let them fly.
The industry leader is saying that this policy you are implementing is not helping us.
Yes.
First of all, between 2015 to 2024 March, this policy was not in place. You are saying in theory it was in place. It was never. It became evident, pronounced to the entire world in 2024. So all the fears that you are alluding to this morning, that there will be monopoly, between 2015 to 2024 is what? 9 solid years. We never had that monopoly. So why all of a sudden? You as a consumer,
you study the trend
again,
and then you make
the trend for 9 years. For 9 years.
I have to listen
Solo
for 9 years. No, he's not coming in again.
Go to Kenya.
Why must I go to Kenya? When I'm in Ghana?
What you are
What am I going to do in Kenya?
Kenya implemented it, and in about 12 years down the line, government had to intervene in the petroleum sector through the very
so
why did the government use for the bulk distribution companies? Because
the bulk distribution companies also they had to run away from the price floor. Why do you think that they didn't?
But what is your understanding of the ex-refinery price?
What is that?
The difference between the ex, because in calculating the ex-refinery price, there's a control mechanism that tells you the premiums that they can put on top of the ex-refinery.
So though the price floor,
but this has got nothing to do with your ex-refinery price.
So you don't understand.
No, it has got nothing to do with it.
Hang on. You can't assume that. You can't assume that everybody watching would understand you. Break it down.
How you break it down? Break your ex.
We're saying that the bulk distribution companies pushed for the removal of price floor.
Yes.
They got it.
No.
They didn't?
No. You see, you need to understand that under the new, for them, because it is determined by 2 factors, inflation and that of
Forex market.
But is it not the same that
so government agreed in principle with them that what we can do is to determine the price through using the ex-refinery price, where you have to look at you have to take into consideration what we call their premiums. So government already has an idea of the premiums they will add as alongside the forex losses, if any, in pricing. That's the BDCs. Then they will now onwards take it to the OMCs. Then government intervenes because government would have had an idea how much it is costing to get it in the first place from the BDCs.
So
then government then intervenes through the price floor.
Okay.
Are you getting the point? So because government intervenes through the price floor, indirectly, government will not sit aloof for the BDCs to extort the system.
You know what happened?
And what this government is also doing, MFI, is critical. We are having this discussion because this government understood that even aside the price floor, there's the need for government to explore certain avenues to further reduce pricing. And that's why we...
then what are we discussing this one?
Inflation... Please.
No.
We knew, as a matter of fact, that inflation was a major problem.
No.
And that's of our forex losses. Today we have been able to stabilize the city. Inflation is down. And that is also reflected in the price of the fuel prices. Is that not the case?
And
if we lose control of inflation today...
Okay, so stable. I just want response.
You think that we'll be having this
You
discussion?
think Star is right? Should
They
they even boycott?
They are absolutely right. They must boycott the oil marketing company.
No. Solo will change his mind after today's show.
Okay, hey, come on. Star should boycott
On this
and
matter,
then
you have to
MPA
change
should
your
listen as
Whatever
well.
you say will be used against you in the court of law.
Quick one. Quick one. I think that Star has done well. And Star, as a major player, should also consider the fact that in every business environment, there should be a consideration for all, especially when it's competitive. Now, the point I'm trying to make is, with the greater respect to Star, yes, industry may not be fair to you in terms of the pronouncements that they make when it comes to your stance. However, when you also go to a particular table for a discussion and look at where the majority tilts strongly and where the tilt does not actually go against the interest of all of you, I think that it is also very good that you also calm down a bit to listen. I'm happy that this morning COMAC is saying that, look, they are going to have a board meeting, and at their board meeting, they shall discuss strongly to see how
I think they had a board meeting yesterday, so there's going to be another board meeting.
Today again. On the Star matter. I think
yes, because you have made your point.
Because I think
but it is important
it's a negotiation position. Star has taken a negotiation position.
To know that they are not boycotting because they insist that the NPA should take away the price floor or floor price. They say that COMAC is an entity.
Exactly. So it's a negotiation position Star is taking.
When they are answering to questions in the media, if you have a representative sound like the only way you can reduce your price is when you cut down on your margins or you are, you are undercutting. Star Oil says that puts them in a bad light.
Government in a bad light.
So Star is saying that.
And our regulation. Their conduct, the government regulation.
No.
So you see, they belong to an association. And the very moment you agree to be a member of an association, you must play according to the rules of that association until such a time that you go out.
Yeah, that's the point.
Now they are taking advantage of the capitalist environment, and they want to set.
It's okay. We've had.
I wanted to buy some time for us.
So why are you?
So we close.
I don't have the last issue. You have the last
so
issue.
now, from next week, are you a Muslim?
No, I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian. I'll bring a Bible.
He's a
Muslim. I'll bring a Quran. So everybody will sweat.
People go what? People go to betting. People go to betting with
the Holy Quran,
and they come and steal from us.
Okay, that's.
So that will be a bit.
So Keno Feriata. Let's wrap on Keno Feriata. Does it look like his woes will ever end? It's quite an ending.
Thank you. Look, as I'm sitting here, for me, if you ask me that what is my position, I'll say, if I can speak to Ken, I will say tomorrow next, ask to be self-deported, come home, face the justice system, put it to rest. If you ask me and I have the power, I will say, come, face the justice and let it go. Whatever it is, come face the system. When you come here, you will have your day in court. The government will make their case in court. At the end of the day, justice, whatever form it is, will be taken care of. This saga has gone long enough, and I think it's about time we bring it to an end. An end here will mean that we go and then we deal with these charges. When Akufo-Addo left office, he said a very powerful thing. One of the most things he says that he opposed that all his employees, former employees, will stay home. I don't know what he said, but he said to be ready to be held accountable for their stewardship. No matter whom you are, no matter what you do, you have to be held accountable for your stewardship. I'm glad that the state has told us that even without him, some of the trials can begin, and they've begun some of the trials. That means that whether he is here or not, there's no impunity. But I think the state also made the case that they need him here for whatever reason it is. So if I wake up tomorrow and I see a kind of either in Ghana, I'll be happy. At least it will make sure that my friend stops the, what way do you keep fit he's doing at the American embassy and then sit at home and do say he was tired there doing keep fit and say he's protesting. Solomon, you see like that provocateur. You were doing keep fit. Those all you, okay, let me go. So at least
where we are now, Hamza, do you think?
Oh, I'm done. So stop the keep fit. I hope the care will come.
Once you invited Solomon in, and just where we are now, I hear everybody say that I think that Ken should come home. Doesn't look like he wants to come home. Where we are now, do you think that Ken really would have the appetite to want to come home?
It is not about whether he has the appetite to come home or not.
where we are now, we all have to accept that it has gone beyond our control first as a republic at this moment, and that of his own hands, Ken, as an individual. What is at play has to do with another sovereign state exercising its rights, reference to its own laid down rules, regulations, and laws. And so, irrespective of what Ken would want at this critical moment is immaterial, whether to be in the country or not. Of course, he can, communicate to the U.S. authority that I want to stop all this hullabaloo and come home. But Ghana has also in the system an extradition request. That changes the dynamics of the case. I've listened to so many people who were of the view that, look, this has nothing to do with the extradition request. And I was quite quiet at the moment. Undoubtedly, when Ken was picked up, MFA, it had to do with the fact that he had overstayed his visa. But knowing how our court processes work, especially in the United Kingdom and some states within the United States of America, if there's an extradition request, in fact, the first thing they do when ICE picks you up, or any law enforcement agency abroad, they pick you up, they first go to their local database to see whether you are a fugitive criminal or not, and whether there's a request, for example, in the United States of America, by another state requesting your extradition to that state, say from New York to Virginia. If there's nothing like that, they go onto the international database. And if there's something to that effect, then they will request the documentation from the appropriate state.
Maybe what people mean is that now, the extradition was not what triggered the picking up of
it may not have triggered it, and that's the point I'm making. But whether we like it or not, at this critical moment, the extradition will play a critical role, even in the determination of his status, as far as the ICE detention is concerned. I don't know whether you are following my argument. Yeah. Because you see, when they picked him, I'm pretty much convinced that in going through the softwares, both the local and international, they would have seen a request being triggered by Ghana for extradition. And it is not surprising that even the state prosecutors indicated that there was an extradition request when they were hearing his bail application for his removal from the country. So that changes the dynamics. And that was the reason why the judge in the instant case decided that he needed to see evidence of that extradition request before he could proceed. And so it changes the dynamics. He was picked up because of immigration issues, but as we speak today, it is the extradition that will drive the determination of the immigration issues, as far as Ken is concerned. But you see, MFA.
MFA will finish on the table.
Yes. and I like the way he mentions the MFA.
Dr.
See, he mentions it in a different way. It's not like...
I appreciate the fact that he's able to say the name accurately.
No, but he mentioned it with some intentions behind
when you are...
I always doing mischief.
Because I was of the view that Sedina as well would have been...
no, she has a different court date.
I thought it was 21st.
I thought 26th.
We had nothing about it, but if you have any information...
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
But that is a different facility entirely.
Absolutely.
And hers has nothing to do with immigration. That is more in tandem with the extradition request the former administration filed. That is now being effected. So the processes are likely to be different when it comes to setting up. But you see, the reality of the matter is that we can continue to do all the political commentary around the substance of Ken's decision. One thing is telling. There was clearly an intention, or Ken evinced an intention from what is playing out now, never to subject himself to any investigative body in this country. Absolutely, that was clear from the word go. So the issue of his so-called health, that was being used as a cover not to return to this country, should be clear to even MPP spokespersons that this was a gentleman with a clear intention to avoid accountability from the word go. Today, that same Ken has the energy and strength to appear before state investigative bodies of another different sovereign country in good health. But when it comes to our country, suddenly it is a place where accountability can no longer be found. Is Ken so special than the likes of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, than the likes of Edu Buahin,
former running mate of the MPP in the last election, what's his name? The former energy minister.
Napo.
Napo and the likes, who are all appearing before investigative bodies in this country to account for. Nana could be called at any point in time. No, he's not. I'm saying that he could be called at any point in time, but he has not left.
It will be after 3 years, would it not?
He's still here.
Nana Akufo-Addo could be called.
He could be. But Mahama was investigated. Have you forgotten?
It's long overdue.
Mahama was investigated by the special prosecutor.
Never.
Oh, how?
Mahama was investigated by the special prosecutor under the direction of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He directed.
So you were in this country, or you were in Saudi Arabia?
No, but we need to.
No, he was in Saudi Arabia.
So, MFA, look,
I think
we all know. Yes, I need to learn on this. We all know that the politics surrounding the issue basically is rooted in the fact that Ken is being aided not to avail himself to our accountability pillars of this country. And in the process of doing that, even apart from injuring our economy as finance minister, ably supported by MPP apparatchiks and appointees, today he's injuring the international reputation of the Republic of Ghana by his open statement that Ghana is a hostile nation and it is a democracy that he cannot.
That is a position that you are not being fair with.
Come on.
That it is a hostile country that he cannot have
access. If anybody injuring the reputation of this country is the current government.
So
no, wait. No, you will not finish. You've not been talking. We all study and you are waving to please that are not. We all love the Ken thing. Now you are trying to take this away.
You are done with your Ken. Are you not done with
it? You had your time and you decided to go and be praising Solo.
Can I go?
So it's an affront.
Okay, so I will praise you again.
Come on, please go on.
First of all, our Attorney General speaks as though he has all the information in this world. And of course, he's in a privileged position. He's supposed to have that. And to take his word for it. I don't know when he gave us the deadline of 31st January. The deadline of when the Attorney General is giving us. That kind of letter will be in Ghana.
31st.
31st, eh?
End of the month.
End of the month. Okay, that's fine. I only hope that his promise, as usual, is going to hold. Anyway, but you see, we have made this issue a big issue when in fact it's not supposed to be a big issue. I'm surprised. First of all, your presence or non-presence does not stop accountability process to be triggered.
It hasn't stopped.
Which we have made that argument over and over again.
It hasn't stopped the
I'm saying that, yes, it has not. It has not. But until the noise was made about it, that the prosecution of the same individual began in court. I would have thought that once you have all these arsenals at your disposal.
Kamala, you said that it was a noise. So it was the fact.
It was a noise. It was a noise.
What he said, they had to get.
Why? When the special prosecutor started talking about Ken and that I want him back and whatever, then lawyers came out to say whether he is here or he's not here, you can prosecute him.
Are you in any way suggesting
before it came out?
Prosecutor didn't.
Not just that. I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying we've made big issues out of this for nothing. In any case, whether you are here or you're not here, so long as you have shortchanged Mother Ghana, you can be held. What?
Lawyers say that they agree that you can be tried in absentia, but the most preferred is when you're here. Does that make sense?
So that's what I'm saying. Listen, I've not said this is not there. I'm saying we have made this issue an issue. You see?
I want to see why you say we have made it an issue.
I am saying that you can go ahead and ensure the accountability process is triggered and achieved.
And I'm also saying that
with or without the person.
And I'm also saying that has started. Mm-hmm. The accountability process which you're asking has started in his absentia. But they have also not lost sight of the fact that they want him to.
It started in the midst of the noise. It started. Why? You could have just started without making noise. It started in the midst of noise. That's the point I'm making. That's what I'm saying, that we have made and created a noise, some brouhaha around us. Now let's look at Ken. First of all, he's an individual. He's a human being. His fundamental human rights are supposed to be what? Observed, no matter what. That is why even in our laws, whoever is actually held is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Okay? My point, I want to agree here with Dr. Zato is that, look, all this hula baloo, all this noise, whoever is actually at the helm of affairs, subject yourself to him. That's what Ken should have done. If I were Ken's lawyer, in the first place, I would advise that he comes, because on the back of the letter that he even wrote to the chief of staff, when he was leaving, he wrote to the chief of staff, Julius Debra, to inform him that he was living. Wait, please. He wrote. You guys have check. I know what I'm talking about. Please listen to me. I am not.
I have the letter here. You are telling me something. What is the letter here? The letter is here. I'll read the letter here.
This was the chief of staff.
Kind of write himself. All right.
By the time he was leaving, was
are you listening to me? No. Let me make this point. And I say I will make this point
on this letter. He wrote it.
I am saying that he wrote to indicate that he was traveling. And that anytime he's needed.
It matters who approved.
I'm saying.
I am to who?
It matters who approved. Who?
Look, cross-check.
No, the reason
I'm
saying that he wrote because before your
Deborah has no approval authority.
No, come on,
I'm very surprised that he's making this.
Come on, talking now. He was not the chief.
So are you denying the fact that he didn't write?
No.
Right one.
But you're not even hearing my
question.
I'm
saying that before Ken left this country.
I'm saying that on this table, there have been many people who have come who have said that when he left, the chief of staff was still Fremont Osei-Opare because they want to use that as a point to build. And you have said that it is Julius Deborah, and I said I want clarity, just for comments that have been made.
When did Ken leave this country?
If anything to go by, the special prosecutor was early days of January. On the 2nd of January. Okay.
And he wrote to the chief of staff, right?
Yes.
I'm talking about the chief of staff then.
At the time.
Then you just apologize to the people.
Please proceed.
Please.
Then you have to
he wrote to the chief of staff, indicating that I am traveling and that while I'm away, I can be reached via this or these channels. He said that. And I'm saying on the back of that alone, if, of course, you are being sought for, it is only fair that you come down and then listen to it. You understand? So for me, if I were actually one of his lawyers, I would have advised that, look, he comes. And nothing is going to happen. Okay. But people are here, people go through the justice system, and we all watch it. That's all.
All right.
So, MFA, the truth of the matter is that the longer Ken stays abroad, the better it is for the United Party. It further dents.
Will you put the national interest above your parochial United Party interest? We are talking about the national interest. He's putting his party. I just say national interest.
It makes your hatchet job easier.
No, please allow Solo. But why is this?
It makes his hatchet job easier.
No, come on.
You see, the MPP in them is coming up.
The man has been employed to carry out a hatchet job. And his job is to ensure that MPP is attacked all the time. That's his job.
Solo, that's your job.
That's his job. Actually, that's his job.
No, that's telling us his job.
You just said that to make your work easier for the MPP to be attacked.
Come on.
You just said it here.
Come on.
You just said it here.
Come on.
He said it here. To make his work easier.
Now, when
that cannot come in with
I'm very surprised.
To attack the MPP.
Okay, come on.
He said it here.
Oh, yes. The truth of the matter is that.
You talk about Ken. Don't talk about this one.
I'm not going to. Everybody knows that what he said it will not hold water. First of all, Ken Ofori-Atta wrote to the then chief of staff, Fremont Osei-Opare, on the 2nd of January. And listen to how he was able to convince the woman to allow him to go. Greetings. This one is from Ken Ofori-Atta. Request for approval to travel for medical checkup. Medical checkup. He started by saying greetings. He greeted everyone.
Did he greet you too? Were you part of the greetings?
Now he made the point.
Was the letter written to you? Were you part of the greetings?
I told you he wants to do a hatchet job.
Please, can we all be quiet? Solo would have his move.
He said, number one, trust this letter finds you well and in high spirits, as you are. Spirit. Holy Spirit.
It was New Year.
This is to formally request your approval to travel to Rochester, Minnesota, USA for a medical checkup from the 4th of January.
Okay.
To the 28th of January 2025. Remember, see the date, 4th of January 2025 to the 28th of January 2025. So he himself gave Ghana timeline.
Yes.
Now, the moment he left, he was invited by the OSP. Remember, he had told you that it was just a medical checkup. But what have we been told by his lawyers, particularly Frank Davis in this country? The man was that ill, that we were that wicked to be calling someone who is that ill to come back to his motherland. Sometimes I want to sell it, it's even in shortest. That is it palm kernel. Yesterday, I gave it to all of us that went to the American embassy.
Yeah.
That we are busy for that. We don't know our left from right.
He said that Bernard Mona was making certain allegations that were unfounded.
It's true, eh? We are busy for nothing.
Bernard Mona for in this country.
Are you done?
The truth of the matter.
But they would
It's
not the government.
It's not true.
No, don't.
Solomon.
Let them understand that Ghanaians are demanding. No, not government. Because you guys, those who went there, are Ghanaians.
You see,
everybody knows I give you
Bernard Mona. The best they can do for him is allow him to go.
It will be our democracy will not be taken serious if we allow Ken Ofori-Atta to be in the United States.
Precisely.
Then what moral capital would you have to come and sit here and even discuss those in government on corruption? Or why would you allow them to even come and talk about corruption here? As a political party and as a deputy director of communication for the New Patriotic Party, you are encouraging Ken Ofori-Atta to continuously live in the USA.
No, that's not what he said.
That was the initial
plan. That's not what he said. Come out.
Was he listening?
No, but you don't have to respond.
No, I think this man was hearing me. He wasn't listening.
No, but I've already said it.
Yes, that's what he was doing.
Anyway,
he was busy hearing me, but not listening to me.
Why are you in a hurry to cut me?
Because you have made a
you have to come and do this.
I have not made any point.
I'm happy to have come to my
and I want to solidify it.
Solidify what?
He's in a hurry to go back to the key fix.
No, but you have been unfair to Solo. You have been unfair to Solo this time.
Solo is in the hurry to
I see how
you have been unfair.
I see how
you were the one heckling Solo. You were the one heckling Solo.
No, we're not shouting. We're not shouting. Dr. Zato, Hamza Kamal. Solo will have his moments. And I noticed that every time Solo wants to have his moments, you people are uncomfortable.
They are uncomfortable.
Why?
Occupy it. Solo, please land.
The elephants around this.
You checkmate Solo right now when you told him he was out of order for attacking me. Only for you to say we are not comfortable again.
That's my
Solo.
Hamza, why? When Solo wanted to flow on Kopek, you didn't agree.
Solo will agree with that.
Are you done? Are you done? Let it be on record.
He was Solo that said
he's done.
Because he's in a hurry to go for
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Well, we were joined earlier. Please mute your microphones for me. Kamaldeen Abdullah is Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Dr. Joshua Zato is political scientist and policy analyst. Hamza Suhini is lawyer and member of the NDC Communications team. Solomon Owusu is Director of Communications for the United Party. I'd like to remind you that the AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicon Paint from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes, and Time Herbal Mixture. Now, was 2025 a good year for your business? Will 2026 be the year of growth for your business? How can you ensure you do not miss the numerous Africa opportunities in 2026? So, join over 400 businesses and policy leaders today, January 2022, as experts at Crystal Ball Africa 2026 review the opportunity and how to take advantage of the venue, Labadi Beach Hotel, the Plot Labadi Beach Hotel. It has already started at 8:30 earlier and is ending later today at 5 p.m. So you're not too late. You can join them. The theme? The Africa opportunity, time to take advantage. Don't miss the chance to network and tap into new opportunities. Register now to secure your spot at www.crystalballafrica.com. Sponsors Ecobank, Labadi Beach Hotel, AGI, Kawat Mocha, and media partners City FM and Joy FM. This event is powered by AB and David Africa. Please stay. There's more on the show. Thank you for staying with us here on the AM show. So it's the start of the year, and I like to think it'll be a good time to want to take that decision on that house. And so we managed to haul our friends from Robot Social Housing Limited. Francisca Chikata is sales and marketing team lead. She joins us in studio to give you a reason why you must take that decision this year. Don't spend all the money before the year ends, especially because they have some good deals. Francisca, it's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Many happy returns.
Usually I'll just see the name of a company, but my attention is on the social housing. Why that name?
Yes, so Robot Properties happens to be the bigger umbrella.
Okay.
We've been in existence for over 12 years and still counting. So the mother company is the Rehoboth Properties Ghana Limited. And Rehoboth started as an affordable and yet luxurious development at Oyarifa, and over the years we have developed affordable and luxurious home high-rise buildings. The name social housing came as a result of providing a more affordable and yet luxurious Okay. So the high-rise ones are quite a bit on the high side and expensive than that of the social housing. In terms of the amenities that we provide and even the pricing of it, there is a big difference. So we are providing all the basic necessities that we, in terms of development, needs to get: tarred roads, accessibility to water, electricity, but at a more subsidized price.
Okay. If I enter Rehoboth Social Housing today, apart from the amenities, the room that I'll enter itself, what would it look like? What was the threshold for social housing that I used to measure it?
So it is still an affordable and decent room that you get.
Okay.
And also at a very special and juicy price that you get on the market.
Okay.
Rehoboth, because we have been in existence, we have been able to know the trends. And let me tell you what, we are the biggest housing provider in terms of units in Ghana currently. And over these years, we've developed over thousands of housing units. And this happens to be our seventh project.
Okay.
Each development, we build nothing less than 200 or 300 homes.
Okay.
Currently at the social housing, IE Mensa, what we have there is over 400 housing homes, and there are still more to come within that enclave.
Okay, so the IE Mensa location has a social housing project.
Yes.
Which other locations do you have a Rehoboth project?
So we started at Oyarifa. Oyarifa, we have two developments. That is the Rehoboth Courts, and we have the Rehoboth Hills.
Okay.
We have the Rehoboth Gardens, we have the Rehoboth Palm Spring, we have the Rehoboth Palm, and we have the Rehoboth Night Bridge at Kwabenya.
Okay.
The Rehoboth list goes on and on. But this morning, we want to talk more on the Rehoboth social housing.
Okay.
That is the Rehoboth Havens, the one at IE Mensa.
Okay. I mean, one thing is sure for us to talk about prices.
Yes.
You say that it provides more moderate and affordable pricing for the housing that you're providing for us, but how moderate are they?
Sure. So let me run you through the products that we first have, then I'll add the prices to it. So when it comes to Rehoboth social housing, we have 2, 3, and 4-bedroom housing units. Our 2-bedroom comes as low as 675,000 Ghana cedis. We also have a 2-bedroom that is currently selling at 950,000 Ghana cedis. And currently we have introduced our 3-bedroom and 4-bedroom Sunbay, which provides a much spacious rooms and compound for a bigger family. That one is going for 1,250,000 Ghana cedis for the 3-bedroom. And we have the 4-bedroom currently going for 1,680,000 Ghana cedis. Currently, we started a very juicy discount before the year ended, 2025 ended. And what we did was to give a very nice and juicy discount off our products. So we gave discounts of, if you are making an outright pay business, we give a very nice and also waive off some of the charges that comes with the property acquisition. So this year we've come, this is our new year on appearing on the television, and we have added another juicy combo to it.
Okay.
So aside giving you the discount, we are also providing you with a fully fitted kitchen. That is a kitchen that comes with all the appliances already fitted. And it's the modern kitchen that we know of, not the one that we used to know in 2025. 2026, there's a new modern kitchen that is in town. So
all of these prices that you have mentioned, right, if I choose any of them and I make an outright payment,
yes,
it give me a full fitted kitchen.
Yes.
Like my taste.
Yes.
What I want.
Yes. We have some that we have installed already, and we have selected units that we are using for this special promo.
Okay.
Once it's off, or once we have exhausted the limit, that will be the end of the promo.
Oh, the offer doesn't last forever. Oh.
Because it's the same thing we did in December, and before we realized, we had to make room for some people to join on because the deal was so juicy.
Yeah.
So in the 2026, we have added that kitchen cabinet. That is a new year. Let's start afresh. Let's start something new. Let's distort the market a bit and disturb it.
You what is kitchen? You have my full attention. So please go over the pricing again. Okay.
Aside the fitted kitchen cabinet, we are waiving off all your service charge. If you get to move into your property, your security, your waste garbage, your water, for the full 1 year, you are not paying anything. And also your document that supports your property too is also waived off. So you get free documentation and 1 year free service charge once you sign up to our outright payment. So if you are doing an outright payment on our 2-bedroom semi-detached, which is selling at 675,000 Ghana cedis, if you are doing an outright payment, you'll be paying 650,000 with a free cooker and a free washing machine. If you are doing a 3-bedroom sunbay, that is currently selling at 1,250,000 Ghana cedis. If you are doing an outright payment, you only pay 1.2 million Ghana cedis. And you also get a fully fitted kitchen, 1 year service charge waived off, and also free documentation for your property. And we also have the 4-bedroom that currently selling at 1,680,000 Ghana cedis. If you are doing an outright payment, then you are paying 1.6 million Ghana cedis. Also with fully fitted kitchen, as you see on the screen, and also 1 year full service charge waived off, and also with a free documentation bit as well. So this is a very juicy package that if you are listening to us, whether you are in Ghana here, you have relatives in abroad, you can just take a screenshot of what you are watching on the screen, then share with them so that they can reach out to us. If you want to locate this development, we are in Ayi Mensa. Ayi Mensa is on Adenta Ebiri Road. It's a straight road as if you are going to the Ebiri. Once you get to the Ayi Mensa toll booth, you make a turn on your right. It's a popular place called Damfa. You don't get to the Damfa township. From the Ayi Mensa toll booth to the development is within 3 to 5 minutes drive. And you find yourself within a fully gated community with security and all the amenities that makes a home a house.
Okay, I'll just give you the few minutes again to reiterate the prices, because all of this boils down to Sikasem. By now somebody's doing their mathematics and so they don't miss it. I know you have provided a number they can call for more information, but just reiterate again the prices and what they get.
The 2-bedroom semi-detached is 675,000 Ghana cedis. And outright payment is 650,000 Ghana cedis. Then we have the 2-bedroom detached. That one is going for 950,000 Ghana cedis. And if you are doing an outright payment, you'll be doing 900,000 Ghana cedis, plus the fully installed kitchen and the documentation and stuff. And also, we have the 3-bedroom sunbay. That's currently going for 1,250,000 Ghana cedis. An outright payment of 1.2 million Ghana cedis. Then we have the 4-bedroom, currently selling at 1,680,000 Ghana cedis. If you are making an outright payment, then you'll be doing 1.6 million Ghana cedis. Okay. We also have a flexible payment plan where you can make an initial deposit, then we give you some time to pay up for the rest. So the payment plan, you can do 40%, then we give you 6 to 12 months to make up for the rest of the payment. This payment is interest-free. Or we also have, we are in partners with the banks where you can also discuss with them and get a flexible mortgage. They'll be willing to do more than the 1 year that we are offering, but that one comes with an interest rate. So you can discuss with your bankers to assist you with the mortgage package to jump onto this affordable housing, that's renewable social housing. The houses are already built, as you have seen on the TV. The houses are already built, not that you make a payment, you have to wait before you get into your property. We are not doing an off-plan project. Whatever that you see on the screen is real, already built unit. You make up to 50% deposit, we give you 6 months to 12 months to make up with your payment. If you have any other modalities, you can call any of our numbers on the screen, 055-375-1933. And you can call any of the numbers that are projected on the screen. And I think if you can help us with that.
Of course, we've been rolling the numbers on the screen too. So I mean, and if you call the number, I think you should call Francisca. You should ask specifically for Francisca. Sounds very pleasant. That's the number on the screen, Francisca. So take a picture of it now so you don't miss it. And then you can call Francisca. There's an email as well, but I think you should call. Francisca is more pleasant to speak to on phone. Francisca.
So we also have an office in the United Kingdom. Okay. If you find yourself in the Canada, UK, USA, any of our diaspora countries, please, you can call the number on the screen, or you can visit our website, www.rebelsocialhousing.com, and all the information that you need to get will be there. If you need further assistance, you can reach out to the numbers on the screen. If you want to book for a site visit, it is free. Just call any of these numbers and schedule a date. From Mondays to Saturdays, we are open. So just call any of the representatives, book an appointment with them, and just walk and get yourself a very beautiful and decent housing unit.
Francisca, it was just a perfect time to have this conversation. The year's just started, so that people don't put their monies where they are not supposed to be. So thank you so much for bringing this juicy offer to us. And I encourage people to call Francisca and then make a purchase. And we're talking to Francisca Chikata. She is Sales and Marketing Team Lead, Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. But First Sky Group invites the public to its 23rd Thanksgiving service themed, proclaiming the mighty deeds of the Lord, Psalm 71:15-16, hosted by founder and executive chairman Mr. Eric Sedi Kutoche. Activities begin with an all-night service on Friday, January 23, 2026 at Trinity Temple Assemblies of God, Tema. The main Thanksgiving event takes place on Sunday, January 25, 2026 at the Accra International Conference Center, featuring Reverend Dominic Yeo as guest speaker, Apostle General Sam Kranche Ankara as chairman, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as special guest of honor, and ministration of music by Kofi Owusu Pepra. You don't want to miss it. That all-night starts tomorrow, and then the Thanksgiving on Sunday. You don't want to miss that. You're watching the AM show. We'll go for a quick one. When we come back, we have a great launch. But quickly before that, let me say a good morning to ASP Suzanne Akpari. Mommy, good morning, and thank you always for doing the watching.
For 42-year-old Samson Mensah, life along the banks of the Wager Dam is a constant struggle. Every controlled spillage brings the same hardship. Floodwaters force his family indoors, prevent him from going to work, and keep his children out of school. Yet, moving away is not an option. Samson explains that years of investments in the land leave them with no choice but to endure the harsh reality whenever the dam spills.
Dom account say you won't quite know because situation that woman in Tibia who come back to baby who free buy. Maybe a first grand or rented house. And maybe a while I beg you plot now school ye Abanasa. We are be
But managers of the Wager Dam insist the spillage, though disruptive, is unavoidable. The public relations officer of the Ghana Water Limited, Stanley Marty, explains that the annual controlled release is a critical safety measure to protect the dam from structural failure.
That if we do not spill the excess water from the dam and there's a dam break, the repercussions will be more disastrous than when we are spilling.
Samson is not alone in facing this dilemma. Gideon Yeboah, who lives in the community with his wife and 2 children, says his child misses school for weeks, not because of financial difficulties, but because floodwaters make their home inaccessible. For Gideon, relocating is not an option. The land, he says, was acquired by his father, and protecting it is a responsibility he must uphold.
Mu bi nsu na nkwala ne ntumi nko school bi wa me ba na ofia kosi week na nsu no betwe no ha na de me father na beto asase no 7 plot nti onya beto awie na wo kase utu nsu asase ne da ho obi be ba befa.
However, emergency officials say such attachments are making disaster response increasingly difficult. The National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has attributed the severity of recent spillages to climate change. Officials say changing rainfall patterns have caused the Wager Dam to reach full capacity much earlier than expected in the past 2 years, forcing more intense spillages and complicating evacuation efforts due to continuous human settlements around the dam.
Climate change is a phenomenon that has come to be acknowledged worldwide, and the extremes, that is too much water, too much dryness, and then sometimes heat, extreme heat, are causes of concern for us, because too much water then causes the floods that we deal with. The lack of it will also bring about a drought.
For some residents, the floods leave no room for attachment or choice. Abdullah Ayamdago, a commercial motorbike rider who has lived in the community for close to 5 years, says worsening conditions have forced him to temporarily relocate to protect his life and property.
When they open the dam, they enter inside my room and spoil my things. My dresses all was wet, and that's why I decided to live here.
In response to calls for better management, authorities say solutions must go beyond emergency relief. The Ghana Water Limited maintains that while the Wager Dam spillage is unavoidable, stricter enforcement of land use regulations remains key to reducing the impact on communities downstream.
For us as Ghana Water Company Limited, we can only appeal to them. But for those who are in charge of enforcing the law, I don't think they should act as Ghana Water will. They should get onto the ground and ensure that people who are built in unauthorized places are clearly are cleared from that area or evacuated, and all structures demolished.
For the residents of Tetegu, the waters may eventually recede, but the broader challenge remains. As climate change intensifies and urban encroachment continues, the balance between safeguarding critical national infrastructure and protecting vulnerable communities grows increasingly fragile. Until long-term solutions are enforced, life along the banks of the Wager Dam will remain a cycle of fear, loss, and resilience. Grace Aqua and Ramat Bashiru's report. This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R41 Opportunities Fund.
Well, there's just this woman, if you see, you just know that something good is about to happen on our screens. Emefa Ewenam Etemwa Eli, she is lead strategic partnerships and projects here at the Joy News, not just the Joy News, but Joy Brands MGL. And Dr. Prince Ansa is country lead CDKN Ghana. We also have partners, of course. Dr. Shelter Gachi is research fellow, University of Ghana, Legon. We also have another research fellow, which I just would be introducing. Dr. Yao Ajaman Boafo will be joining us via Zoom. And as well, Grace O. O'Donovan is Program Manager, Claire R4I Opportunities Fund, South North as well. We also have our reporters. Kofi Edu Domfe is Head Climate and Environment Desk. Joy News here. Benedicta Ohenewa Asamwa is a journalist, KTU Radio from the Eastern Region. Lady, doctors, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here in studio. MFA, I pretend I don't know what's going on. I'll just pretend, please. Tell me about the series and what gap it really seeks to want to close.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So,
Climate Evidence is our latest series of climate reporting here on the Joy News platform and Joy FM, as well as all our social media platforms. Of course, we have been leading the conversations and journalism content when it comes to climate change. You can't take that away from us, yeah. So yes, this is the latest on the blog, and we're excited to be doing this. In the next couple of months, we are going to be airing different kinds of stories, all climate-centered, but most importantly, largely, we want to highlight the interventions. In the past, we have done a lot of stories, largely complaining, telling people about the impacts, how people are really under the effects of climate change. Point is, so they are dying, they don't have a place to sleep, they can't grow their crops and all of that. The heat is chasing them out of their comfort zones. In all of these, what is the way out for them? So this series is largely going to focus on that. Thankfully, with the support of the Climate and Development Network Ghana and Claire R4I Opportunities Fund from the South North, and the University of Ghana, which is the C3SS, which is Climate Change Center for Sustainability Studies, University of Ghana. They are supporting us to be able to do this. It is a concerted effort. It's not one. This series of stories we are bringing to you are evidence-based. They are backed with research. So it's not just about reporters going out there finding maybe there's a flat situation and on a regular news day you want to report. But you want to know what is the underlying factor. And at the end of the day, how can we educate the public, though the victims, so they are able to know how to find their way out of the situation they are in. That is what we are bringing to you in the next couple of months on Joy News, Joy FM, and myjoyonline.com, as well as on all our social media platforms.
I definitely look forward to that. I'll come to you both in studio, but I'm just going to go to Zoom first and speak to Grace. Grace, thank you for joining us on Zoom this morning. So for you as an entity, tell me why you decided to partner to bring this project to fruition. What the evidence that these projects is going to be providing, what are you hoping to achieve with it? And does it fit in your broader goal and objective as well?
Thanks so much for that, and pleasure to be here. So I am with South North, as you mentioned, and it's a climate NGO in Cape Town, and we are the Research for Impact hub of the FCDO IDRC-funded CLARE program, supporting this project through our Opportunities Fund. And we work with projects that draw on existing evidence and applies that knowledge to long-term outcomes that are sustainable and beneficial for the people who need them most. And so in terms of this project specifically, our main goals are to bring journalists and researchers into conversation, which is extremely unique. As you'll hear a little bit more, I mean, this project links existing evidence from researchers with policy needs and brings this to media channels from journalists across the country, especially in the most vulnerable regions. And so thinking long term, this makes it possible for climate change reporting to lead to resilience building across the country, to communicate the lived experiences of those impacted by climate risk, and provide context-specific, evidence-based narratives that resonate with readers. And so these stories share what we can do to empower local communities and inspire action. And then in terms of broader impact, we also want to enhance awareness about critical climate challenges and potential adaptation solutions. And this really supports the policies like the national adaptation plans and the nationally determined contributions, all of which are important because they outline Ghana's strategic roadmap and commitments to building resilience against climate impacts and integrate adaptation into policies. So from CLARE's perspective, investing in these kinds of projects and by amplifying the voices and perspectives and strategies that local communities are using to adapt, projects like ours can really bring local African knowledge into global conversations about adaptation and resilience and inform long-term and sustainable and context-driven outcomes.
All right, Grace, stay with me. Let me speak to the researchers, because in the heart of this is proper accounts, credibility, how journalists like myself would even have to report the real issues because they reflect on the broader picture of climate adaptation. And so I'll start with you, Dr. Yao Agyemang, for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Tell me the role of research in proper credibility, accuracy in reporting the real climate adaptation stories that we'll be doing?
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I think you capture it very well, proper and credible stories. What research does is that it makes the climate stories what are called accurate, credible, at the same time very useful and not just speculative. Because climate change is not just one event, okay? It's patterns over time. So without research, the stories risk becoming very emotional but misleading. It can also be dramatic but not so accurate. It can also be loud and then what I call and not helpful. But research helps answer very important questions. I have 3 questions that I think research can help us answer. It helps us answer the question of what is actually changing. And that's something very important. And then the other question is that who is affected the most with this change that is happening? And then the third question that we bring up is that what responses are working? So earlier on when MFA started, she highlighted the importance of bringing the stories of change at the same time, the innovative ideas that are in place to help address these issues. What I think is important is that, for instance, if you look at Accra, when Accra floods, people often say, oh, it's normal rainfall. But research shows that rainfall intensity has increased. And the drainage systems have also reduced. And that also means that, flooding is becoming more and more frequent. So that's what is important. So research helps journalists explain why, let's say, floods are happening more often and not just because it's happening.
Right.
And the same applies to many other examples we can point out in other parts of the country.
Okay. Coming back in studio, Dr. Prince Ansah, so you see that policymakers, government, let's just go hit the nail on the head. Governments will take decisions, but usually outside of real evidence-based stories. Why is it important for them to engage with real evidence-based stories, which is what journalists like myself would be doing? Why is it important?
Yes, so thank you so much for that question. I think evidence-based policymaking is really important, more because it helps in terms of long-term sustainable development or long-term resilient building, as we say in climate change terms. Now, this is because, as Dr. Boafo rightly mentioned, the research helps you to understand the issues in a granular form.
Yeah.
And in that particular sense, what it means is that when policies are being drafted, they are also drafted in a very granular way that it targets the specific issues and not in a broader sense of the word. So I think that is why this particular, climate evidence is important, because the researchers who have spent years working on the ground, in different communities, partnering with local journalists to be able to tell the stories in that granular form, stories of resilience, how are communities, developing systems to deal with droughts, how are communities developing systems to deal with flooding. These are important because it helps also give our policymakers signals to where they can invest and where they can actually put their monies at. And these are very important issues. That the other thing I want to say is that when evidence is brought to bear, especially in terms of like using the media as a channel, what it means is that the public is aware, and when budgetary allocations are actually cut for such projects, there is no pushback because people understand the issues in its very finest form, and therefore the support is there for such policies.
That's an excellent answer. So, Shelter is one thing researching, the information is available. There's another thing communicating the accuracy of it. Again, we're the point of reference. But for a researcher like you, how is it important for us to communicate the real evidence-based? This is research-backed. Because if we are not able to communicate, then really, how important is that?
Well, climate evidence is often technical, right? It's complex, and it's often in a particular circle, academic circle or development circle or think tank circle. Often the public or specific audience are detached from what's actually happening on the ground. Now, the media house serves as a bridge with this disconnect, whereas when they make this information in a digestible form of knowledge, so different audiences can have access to policymakers, communities, they know what's happening on the ground. It also gives a human-centered story to the evidence. So, for instance, in one of the stories I worked on, where we were talking about dry spells causing people to migrate from the north to the south.
Yeah.
As researchers, we are going to work with graphs. We are just going to show the graph to show the fluctuation of rainfall patterns and dry spells. But with the journalists, they go to the field, they follow the farmers, and the farmers were telling them about how there has been inadequacy in the rainfall patterns, and why, because of that, their son had to migrate to the south. As a researcher, I'm just going to show the graph. I'm going to interpret the graph. But the journalists brought the human-centered bit to that data.
Yeah.
And when a policymaker sees it, it's not a distance. Because sometimes it's not their fault. They are there's a strong detachment. So it's important that when there's accuracy, credibility, it's not just an emotional bit. It's backed with data that can be replicated, validated. So that's why it's very important.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I have my colleagues via Zoom. Do I have Kofi? Do I have you? I'm curious. What should we expect?
Well, I'm quite excited. Over the years, Joy News, we've been leading in the climate conversation with our climate focus series, and I'm so excited about this climate evidence initiative. Basically, because of the fact that we know how our researchers have been working, but most of them have the outcomes of their research on the shelves. Hardly do we get to know the realities as expounded at the global level when it comes to climate change. And so what we're doing is to see how we can engage them and bring most of these issues out. In fact, as we speak, Ghana is currently chairing the African group of negotiators as journalists, the impact stories that we've been telling. I think now we want to go deep down there to bring the science behind some of the report we've been doing. And let me say this for a fact. Climate change affects every facet of life. So it's not just about the coastal areas and farmers being impacted that we always talk about. When you talk about road networks today, the Building and Road Research Institute is talking about the fact that even the bitumen that we're currently using to asphalt our roads, they may no longer be able to resist the intensity of the heat.
Okay.
There are implications on health. We talk about issues related to currently people having their windscreens cracking and they cannot explain why it's happening at this time. So I'm so excited that even though the realities of climate change is here and the science talks about it, we need now to go deep down to the researchers and engage them to really tell how people can be resilient, take advantage of the opportunities they're in building resilience, and of course, drive policy to make the right decisions for national development.
Thank you, Kofi. Benedict, I'll come to you, but stay and hang in there for me. Let me come back to you, Grace, if you can hear me. Is one thing championing evidence-based climate-focused stories, and then we come up with recommendations, and then when it is implemented, maybe it's unsustainable. For you as a partner, what kind of long-term impact and sustainable results are you hoping to see after this?
So for us, investing in this kind of evidence-based climate storytelling, it serves to bridge a gap between science and policy and lived experience. And this really does serve to help policymakers and their partners make decisions that ultimately strengthen the adaptation and resilience of people on the ground in ways that work for them. So long-term impacts and sustainable outcomes emerge from sharing this evidence through storytelling, and it helps us strengthen the capacity of researchers and journalists going forward to collaborate on spotlighting existing climate evidence across sectors and that can enhance public awareness and action. And I mean, all the sort of long-term outcomes that emerge from this is around evidence-based storytelling makes climate risks, understandable. So communities can understand what is changing and why, so that decision makers can link these climate risks to concrete choices. Other long-term ones are about building trust and countering misinformation. Evidence-based stories are grounded in peer-reviewed research and data and expertise. It centers, local knowledge and lived experience. It's not just about top-down communication. And ultimately, it also motivates action and not just awareness. I mean, as we've talked about, stories connect, climate impacts to values that we already care about, like health and livelihoods. And more sustainably, hoping that it'll improve policy and investment decisions. It's ultimately about helping policymakers also prioritize the most urgent issues, which are not just technical, but also human and economic imperatives, especially in our current landscape where funding is limited and needs to be well targeted. It also supports equity and climate justice long term and strengthens learning and adaptive capacity. Adaptation is iterative, and stories really help societies learn from what has worked and what hasn't, and where innovations can be scaled or adapted elsewhere. So this kind of project in the long run, and also what I was saying earlier around hopefully influencing policy, is that it's really essential for communities in Ghana and globally to adapt to climate change impacts. And from our program's perspective, investing in this really enables informed decisions, builds trust and turns knowledge into resilience where it matters most on the ground.
Grace, it's nice to know that as a partner, you recognize that the results would be equitable because every area would definitely require a very specific or bespoke solution. But let me go to my colleague, Benedicta Ohenewa. You are a journalist from the Eastern region. I was born in the Eastern region, and I recognize the challenges those mountainous areas will bring. But how has your training, the climate evidence-based training that you've had, how has it shaped the stories that we're going to be seeing later?
Okay, so now the stories wouldn't be about us just going out there and then just reporting, but we have evidences that support. So as a journalist from the Eastern region, I'm super excited we are part of this, because with this, policymakers would make decisions that involve the locals. That includes the locals, but wouldn't make decisions from top to down. Going out there to the communities, most of the things the locals are saying is that the things are just brought to them. There are no proper education whatsoever. So they also are accustomed to what they are okay with. So with the kind of training we had, it has helped us, or it has helped me be able to communicate with them so they voice out issues concerning energy and climate at large.
Benedicta, very well said. Back in studio, before I go to MFA, so that she'll duly launch this for us. Well, maybe before, Doug, Dr. Ajman, let me come to you. I'll take your final words, which you need to say before I come in studio. Do I still have Dr. Ajman Boafo on? Can you unmute?
Yes, I'm right there.
Perfect.
Yes.
I'll take your final words.
Yes, what I think it's important about this collaboration is that, the collaboration connects science, storytelling, and society. Because climate change sits at the intersection of what I would call science, livelihood, politics, development, and my panelists have highlighted that very well. So no single group can communicate it effectively alone, and so that's why this collaboration, I think, is important, and we have to keep engaging each other to ensure that the research that we do brings the data out, it shows all the long term, and then the human stories are also told effectively. So I think this is a very important platform, and it's just the beginning of many of such platforms to come, and encourage media houses all across the country and the world to be more effective in drawing on these experiences for us to ensure that the national adaptation system that we put in place are effective, and also they address the issues that we face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ajman Boafo. Doug, back in studio. It's nice to have a doctor sitting quite closer to me. Well, in wrapping this conversation, in all of it, how are you expecting that the country, or if not, policymakers can prioritize the results that these stories that we're going to be airing, how can they prioritize it so that we can see it when we zoom in, microscopic, see that it is showing up in policies that we'll be coming up with?
Yes, thank you so much. So evidence is very important, and as we well, much know, you can't just, when you are sick and you don't know what exactly is wrong with you, you go to the doctor, you get lab tests, you diagnose it, and then they come up with the results, and they tell you that it's because of A, B, and C. The same thing with climate evidence. It helps us to diagnose the environmental issues, the climate impact, and then help us to be able to have targeted policies that affect, various groups of people, whether it's children, whether it's women groups, which equity conversation have, whether it's farmers in different ways. So it's very, very important that evidence actually speaks, in most of our conversation. And I would also want to say that that is what, the CDK, which is Climate and Development Knowledge Network, we have been, doing, which is connecting, evidence or researchers to whether it's media. We've done it with creatives, we've done it with entrepreneurs, we've done it with, different sets of group of people to make sure that the evidence speaks, and then the evidence is what policymakers also use in terms of drafting policies, for the country.
Dr. Ansah, thank you. Shelter, you've heard all of them. You've heard Grace, you've heard Dr. Ajman-Boafo, you've also heard Dr. Ansah now. Put it all together for me. Okay. Your final words.
The thing at the ground is, with journalists and researchers, there's something that we share. There's a commonality that I didn't realize until this, our quest for knowledge and our curiosity, getting to the root cause of the problem and not stopping at anything to get there. And that is something that researchers also have. Now, coming together, researchers and the media houses to identify the root cause of climate change, and not only the focus on the interventions at hand, is a good cause. First of all, the researchers has limited reach, whether we like it or not. And most of the time, the words are technical. Now, with the journal, working hand the journalists know the groundwork. They know how to communicate to the people. They have access to different audiences. This project, for instance, we use the online platform, we use the TV, and we use, I think, another radio as well. And that is reaching different households, different classes of people. Now, we need to expand this platform. Other media houses need to adopt it. We can also bring other stakeholders on board, because when we utilize this platform, we are going to have, as I mentioned, context-specific solutions. Policymakers are going to have gender-responsive solutions to specific communities. You mentioned that you're in the eastern region. Often when we are talking about climate change, you usually focus on the north. Yeah. But it's also happening.
Very foggy over there. Well, I'm certain that we'll hear more, or especially on the back of the stories that we'll be bringing. But MFF, just few seconds, what to expect, and duly launched it for us.
Okay. The exciting bit about this exercise is that in terms of communication, we work a lot with affiliates. And so it's not just going to be English. So the stories that we are airing, they'll be in the local languages in the various communities that the reporters will be visiting. All our affiliates, whichever reporter is reporting from a specific region and a specific radio or TV station, is first expected to produce these contents in the local language so that the local people can understand and know what to do. That is the other exciting bit about it. And so I'd also like to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to the Clear R4I Opportunities Fund, to CDKN, to the C3SS of University of Ghana, Dr. Yao Ajman-Boafo and his team. Shelter here, thank you for making this possible. For us as journalists, it's very demanding on us if we would have to travel to the very interior to bring these stories. But with them coming on board, it's going to make our work very, very easy and exciting. And so we are happy, and we are saying thank you, particularly to South North Clear R41 Opportunities Fund. We are grateful.
This means it's duly launched.
It's duly launched.
Thank you.
On Joy News, on Joy FM, Joy Online, on all our social media platforms, as well as all our affiliates. You should also expect explainers, to give you a wrap of everything we are doing.
Don't stress. Shut up on that. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. It's duly launched. Please stay for Joy News Desk with Mamie Sinyamiche Famsing. Thank you for watching.